and getting along well with people I find attractive because I love this one girl. I'm not a cheater. I have been cheated on, and I hate it, obviously, which is why this problem is rough for me. What a bizarre thing to say. I've started an office job recently with another girl, and another girl has started just after me. She's 20, cute, blonde, A-cups, and we just get on too well. Started off with us just going to lunch together. Now we're sitting in the car together talking about our real life shit, and we just clicked.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the appropriate response. Yeah.
Woo-hoo. What's her name in your phone, Mom?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Dave? Yeah, don't put her real name in your phone.
Oh,
whatever
no.
you do.
Oh, dude.
I think about her way too much for someone with a girlfriend. And this is what's killing me. Oh.
Yeah.
And this is what's killing me. It's killing me, Sean. Yeah. Oh, I'm tormented. Oh, because I'm a good person, but I'm not doing good things. Oh, and it's tearing me apart. Ah, if only. If only I was doing good things. If I was single, there's no doubt in my mind I would be in full pursuit mode. But I'm being very...
When I saw this trailer for the first time and I saw the shot, I'm like, oh, she should be, as she is drawing the smile on the window, why isn't it matching his face? So it's like, oh, missed opportunity here. But no, it's plausible yet surprising. What happens?
I want to see the real you.
I want to see the real you. He turns his head. And it matches up. It gave me that reward of, oh, this is so smart. They allowed me to figure it out before them, and they're paying it off. This is like just one element of what I think makes a great trailer. And I thought I was going to do this video.
Nope, don't care.
All right, welcome back to the Computer Lab. This is a filler episode. Wow, I'm off to a bad start. Here are some Pokemon cards. We're recording this first because I'm not fully awake yet, but this is probably going to air last, so these jars are going to be empty. That'll all be explained soon. Ooh. I said that really ominously, but it all makes sense. Anyway, how are you on this fine day?
Not too bad. You know, I was informed in advance that we were doing some more Pokemon card openings, but I was like, wow, we're really keeping the filler content trucking along. It's not just the one, but hey, I mean, filler arcs, sometimes you gotta have multiple to keep that production gravy train running.
Yeah, and in true filler fashion, the weekly machine that you have to feed has outpaced my imagination.
Yeah.
So. I want to read this real quick in case nobody notices it. This video is called Second Filler Episode Opening Pokemon Cards Again from the Computer Lab. But I like their poster they've got here. Rules for a New Millennium. Games will be held to the same standards as other media. Market performance is not indicative of quality. The best games have not yet been made. Fictional characters are not real people. And never glance at creative works. I like that. I like it. Hello, Janes. Hello, Ellen. Hello, Blink and You'll Miss It, who have all made themselves known in chat. If you're watching this show and you're not trying to stay a lurker, make yourself known. Let me know you're here. Assert your existence.
That's how it goes.
Hello, HP 2004. Why are you watching so intensely, lol? Because I was reading all the stuff in the background.
Well, on that note, how about you go first? Open some cards.
All right.
You also recognize more of the monsters than I do.
Yeah, I'll make it bigger for y'all, so you're not just watching me watch intensely this. Shit, I pressed the wrong button. There we go.
Last time you opened it so elegantly.
It was like, oh god, that was extremely inefficient.
Awful. Look at this.
All right. So, with that out of the way, we have Squawkabilly here.
Squawkabilly.
Yeah, this has got to be Gen 8 or 9 because I'm not familiar with this guy. Starting off.
You know what? I'm gonna turn on like a sort of smaller camera, and we can see all of the close-ups. Okay, we have more camera feeds going than ever before. All right, show the camera this Squawkabilly.
Ooh, all right, Squawkabilly. Walkabilly. as the mics darting in my face.
Amazing.
All right.
So let's see.
Another one, Capsakid, who I am not familiar with. Another
Capsakid.
Gen 8 or 9, presumably.
I've never even heard of that
Capsakid.
fucking thing.
Capsakid.
Wow, okay, he looks very menacing. Increasing spice is
Whoa.
Oh,
the
he's a
attack
pepper.
that he has.
Oh, he's going to show up on Arrakis and
Okay,
increase
I do remember
production
that
there.
guy.
Yeah,
Spice must flow.
that is my boy.
Chaldean. Okay, all right.
Loma, or
Hmm.
I always mess up this name.
Okay, I've had enough Pokemon. Show me something else. Show me things, internet. That's your job.
The Sega Sophomore Slump. It's Segaiden episode 59.
Oh no, now I really am finished. Who's that? Just one of my oldest enemies.
1988 was the year of twos for Master System. Follow-ups to earlier games for the console appeared in rapid succession as spring rolled lazily into summer. Sadly, these second games were generally not as good as their predecessors, as we see here with Space Harrier 3D. This one should have been a knockout, a pure, simple, effortless success. And yet, it should have been a big deal, too. As I mentioned before, Sega often treats Space Harrier as a critical starting point for the company. Although the game didn't introduce the concept of superscalar graphics having been preceded by Hang-On, Space Harrier greatly improved on the concepts that Hang-On introduced. It added an additional axis of movement to the action and presented players with a distinct psychedelic visual style that felt like a living progressive rock album cover. Along with Outrun, Space Harrier did more to set the tone for Sega in the back half of the 1980s than any other single title. Its fast-paced action, gripping music, sampled audio snippets, and eye-watering scaling effects made for a game that felt literally years ahead of anything else on the market. For the game's initial home release, Sega pushed the Master System to its limits. The 8-bit console obviously couldn't recreate the visual effects of an arcade cabinet powered by the same processors as graphical computing powerhouses like the Apple Macintosh and Commodore Amiga, which cost tens of times more than the Master System hardware. But it managed to fake the experience to a satisfactory degree by dedicating the console's sprites to the player's enormous on-screen avatar, while rendering enemies, scenery, and projectiles as animated background tiles. Space Harrier 3D attempts to bring the console experience a little closer to arcades by making use of the Sega 3D glasses. The idea clearly was that the console's shortcomings would be balanced out by the integration of 3D visualization that would enhance the sense of visual depth, while giving players crucial information about the spatial relationships and distances of objects that tend to be muddled by the use of blocky, visually conflicted background tiles to render just about everything in the game. That's kind of burying the lead. Space Harrier 3D is not simply Space Harrier with the addition of a glasses enhanced 3D effect. For all intents and purposes, it's a genuine sequel to Space Harrier, an all new set of levels, enemies, and challenges. Mechanically, Space Harrier 3D does literally nothing new. Control the autonomous Harrier as he runs, flies, and shoots across checkerboard landscapes on alien worlds. You can move in all directions around the screen as the action moves rapidly forward into the horizon, which somehow never seems to move any closer. However, plenty of things in the middle distance do streak towards you as you dash forward. Both landscape elements and enemy aggressors alike. You can tell they're enemies because the alien craft in this game swipe their designs from popular sci-fi properties, like the fighter craft, that are just different enough from Star Wars Imperial TIE fighters to avoid legal action. The terrestrial objects hurtle forward, looming ever larger as you race ahead, with small destructible obstacles threatening to trip you up, and larger indestructible hazards killing you on contact. Unlike in the first game, some hazards now appear from above in addition to rising from the ground, but you need to avoid them all the same. The screen does offer a very limited amount of panning left and right so that you can veer around these objects, but otherwise it's business as usual. The biggest danger in Space Harrier 3D comes from enemy ships and monsters, and not just because they fire projectiles at you. It's more about the way the projectiles work. Due to the game's reliance on background tiles, there's a sort of object priority given to graphical elements. Because object
To what Rekka thinks, who said watch anime back when. I'm only going to take requests at the rate of $1 a minute, and otherwise, unless you're in my Discord and you want to send me something you made personally, I'll check that out. But
objects are represented by background tiles. They appear inside of a square space that overwrites anything that's meant to be further away. The Master System lacks the ability to sandwich multiple background layers on top of each other, and the cartridge simply doesn't contain enough storage space to draw objects at different distances with fragments of other objects peering out from around the edges. An absolutely unreasonable task given different combinations of objects and projectiles involved. So all objects are simply bordered by a frame of blank color that blots out anything behind it. This means that once projectiles start flying fast and furiously, you start to lose lots of crucial visual details. As a bullet flies toward you, the blank frame around its edges often overwrites dangerous background and alien elements that will potentially crash into you. Projectiles generally have priority, but if multiple bullets fly at you all at once, as is so often the case during boss encounters, you may only see the frontmost bullet without realizing that additional energy particles are following behind in rapid succession. This makes Space Harrier 3D an exercise in flying blind and hoping for the best at times, dodging what you can see and praying that what you can't see won't hurt you. This was a problem in the first Master System Space Harrier as well, but it feels more severe here, which is, ironic. The entire point of Space Harrier 3D was to mitigate the blockout effect of tiling through the use of the 3D glasses. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work. The 3D effect here comes through to a degree, but it doesn't present as well as, say, the visuals in Maze Hunter 3D or Missile Defense 3D. Convincing nature of the illusion aside, the real kicker here is that Space Harrier 3D's visual effect is tough to look at for more than a few minutes. I initially thought the fact that I ended up with an eye-strained headache after just a couple of levels of play spoke to some shameful weakness on my part, but no. A casual survey of online discussion about the game suggests that this result is actually quite common. I'm not 100% certain why this would be the case, but poring over the footage I've captured with my soggy, technically efficient brain, I suspect the problem comes down to Space Harrier 3D's reliance on that background tile setup I mentioned before. Sega's 3D glasses tech relies on strobing LCD shutters, which it syncs to alternating frames on the screen. The lenses darken to block the line of sight of each of the viewer's eyes 30 times per second, with one lens blackened while the other switches transparent. The image on screen shifts rapidly back and forth between projecting one perspective to one eye and then the other, and the discrepancies in the position of the objects between these cycling viewpoints creates the illusion of depth and distance. The concept works marvelously with spray-based objects, but it seems to have poor luck with background tiles.
God,
I feel like the way that
that would
tile-based
make me
objects can't
nauseous.
overlap, but instead are presented as objects surrounded by blank corners of solid background color doesn't really work well with the concept that objects are three-dimensional objects in space. A 3D effect appears here, but in a compromised way that your brain has trouble reconciling. Or maybe the issue stems from something else, but that's my observation anyway. Whatever the culprit, Space Harrier 3D doesn't manage to improve on its predecessor, and in fact feels downright painful to play. Perhaps knowing this, Sega did include the option to turn off the 3D effect, something that Maze Hunter 3D lacked. But Sega being Sega, that option doesn't show up on the menu screen. Oh no, you can only turn off the 3D effect by playing the game in 3D long enough to rank on the high score screen, and then inputting your name as a secret code. Maybe someday Sega will include quality of life features as a standard element of their home games, but for now, it's all cloak and dagger. Fittingly, for a game that cloaks your eyes and makes your skull feels like someone shoved a dagger through it. Next up in the Master System's parade of tepid follow-up attempts, we have the sophomore adventure of Alex Kidd. Wait, did I say sophomore? Sorry, I meant sophomoric. But wait, Alex Kidd the Lost Stars is so much worse as a sequel than Space Harrier 3D. For all of the previous game's failings, you can see that Sega really puts...
Okay, but I just cared about the one with the shooting, though. The hell is Nun Simulator? Oh, God. That looks like a nightmare. I don't like when video games have uncanny valley graphics. Like when they just try to look like a cartoon. It's not late enough to start watching Ev Nosum videos yet. Gotta be in a real fucking strange state of mind. So much stuff in my subscriptions feed. Oh God, iDubbbz. I'm sure that's cringe. Ooh. No. Man, this latest fish tank season, Cucumber Feet has been fucking cranking out these recap episodes like every single day, I guess. Well, a little less than every single day, I guess. I cannot keep up. It doesn't seem as interesting as the first two either. Apparently, Lily Orchard plagiarized 2 insane articles about Steven Universe. I don't know. I didn't watch this video. I don't care that much. I only talk about Lily Orchard when I get paid to. Pakistan's first hand-drawn animated feature.
I wanted to make the best film I could in the circumstances that I had. I always say I was ready to go to the ends of the earth to achieve that. I got to go to Berklee College of Music on a full scholarship. And through TED, I was touring and speaking at conferences all over the world. Being a creative person in Pakistan, most of the time you're just forced to not be that, either society or parental pressure, and seeing so many brilliant artists that just aren't doing it anymore. That look of regret and pain in their eyes when they talk about it. Being a creative person in that conflict that's happening around you.
Don't become like the people he's talking about, y'all.
War is destruction. So the juxtaposition of a glass shop in wartime, the most fragile of substances in the most destructive environment. Animation was always the dream. When the opportunity came and embark on this journey, I had to take that plunge, because if I didn't do it then, I would die inside. Something just kept pulling me towards it. I felt like everything else was just a waste of my time. This is the one thing I should be doing, keeping my heart open, because I really, many points, wanted to close it off. If you're not afraid, if you're not nervous, then it's apathy. Courage is the fear and overcoming that fear and still moving forward. That was the hardest part about...
All right, Caribou-kun gets a freebie.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered
Living off borrowed time, the clock tick faster. That'll be the hour they knock the slick blaster. Dick Dastardly and Muttley with sick laughter. A gunfight and they come to cut the mix master. ICE Cole, nice to be old. Y2G Steve twice to threefold. He sold scrolls, lo and behold. Know who's the illest ever, like the greatest story told. Keep your glory gold and glitter. For half of his niggas to take him out the picture. The other half is rich and it don't mean shit to villain. A mixture between both with a twist of liquor. Chasing with more beer, tasting like truth for dear. When he at the mic, it's like the place get like, oh yeah. It's like they know what's about to happen. Just keep your eye out like I capping. Is he still a fly guy clapping if nobody ain't hear it? And can they testify from in the spirit? and living the true gods. Giving y'all nothing but the lick like two broads. Got more lyrics than the church got ooh lords. And they hold the mic in your attention like two swords. You don't touch the mic like it's AIDS on it. Yeah, it's like the end to the means. Fuck type of message that sends to the fiends. That's why he bring his own.
なんだよ、子供みたいに。
Message that sends to the fiends. That's why he bring his own needles and get more cheese than Doritos, Cheetos, or Fritos. Slip like Freudian, your first and last step to playing yourself like accordion. When he at the mic, you don't go next. Even pussycats like why hoes need Protex. Exercise index won't need Bowflex and won't take the one with no skinny legs like Joe Tex.
Well, all right. Gil has definitely got a hell of a way with editing, bringing the Moe and the Guro together, bringing some really bizarre aesthetic combinations together that you never are quite sure where it's going to go. Also, their videos always feel substantially longer than they are. Like, I knew going in that was only 2 minutes, and I kept being like, oh my God, there's still more. I hope that the fact that that video is able to be up means that my video won't get taken down for having accordion in it. Yeah, anyway, I guess we'll watch more of this.
Osman Riaz. So I can't believe we're here. You know, honestly, I can't. I'm really happy about it.
No, I'm supremely grateful, and for me, it's an honor to be here with you. So thank you.
Just to position this for everyone.
This looks like they had to like fuck with the gain on the visual. Like they had to really distort this to make it bright enough to be visible or something. Like, I don't know. This shot looks a little better. Everything's kind of a little out of focus though. They definitely didn't have a camera crew. I mean, I appreciate it. I'm not complaining. I wasn't sure if this was all going to be an edited video or if it was going to turn into an interview, but it did. And, you know, whatever. You can watch that if you're interested in it. I might listen to it later. All right. Where was I in my scrolling through my fucking subscriptions? Let me know any requests y'all got. Course Guy says, hello, everyone. Hello, Course Guy. I appreciate all the Necromancer jokes in the chat also. But I gotta find stuff to put on here. Gotta show you all videos. I mean, I don't really have to do anything. But this is a good one. I appreciate it.
Kendrick Lamar. He's from a city called Compton. This is their city hall, as seen in the video. Wait, I thought he was from Los Angeles. Well, Compton is part of the greater Los Angeles area, so he still says he's from Los Angeles, which is why this clown appears in Kendrick Lamar's video. He's a Los Angeles legend named Tommy the Clown who keeps kids off the streets through dance. He also invented a popular dance called crumping. Kinda. This is his dance crew. They're wearing red, white, and blue to symbolize America versus Canada, but also to symbolize these two groups of individuals that didn't like each other for a very long time. Hey, you know who else was part of this group? Kendrick Lamar. Just kidding. Kinda. Listen closely. Don't make the same mistake as Drake. Rapper YG, as Drake said, grew up as a full member of the Red Group. But see, Kendrick Lamar grew up as an affiliate of the Red Group, meaning that he grew up on a certain block as to where all his friends love that color red and his family members love that color red, meaning that the red people will always have Kendrick's back. So when Drake tried to put them against each other, it showed how clueless he was about Los Angeles and street culture, really. So YG had to correct him by showing up in all of Kendrick Lamar's concerts and videos. Like this guy, DJ Mustard, who made the beat for Not Like Us. He's also from Compton, but get back on track. We're talking about Kendrick. Just kidding. We're talking about Steve Lacy, also from Compton. That's why he performed at Kendrick's concert. Tyler, the Creator's from a neighborhood like right next to Compton. That's why he performed. Russell Westbrook's from the same neighborhood as Tyler, the Creator, which is is why he hopped on stage and LeBron James didn't, because LeBron James understood this is a Los Angeles thing. Also, why DeMar DeRozan hopped on stage. A for sure Hall of Famer basketball player who grew up in Compton, played for a little bit in Toronto, Canada, where Drake's from, but came back home to Compton. This brings us to Dave Free. I don't know if this is the same reference, but it looks good. Also Compton native, Kendrick Lamar's childhood friend. Drake tried to put them against each other, but they're like, nah, we good. Which is also why he brought his family, saying, nah, we good. They just don't like the spotlight. Which is also why she's wearing this shirt, because Drake accused Kendrick of doing something to her. If you don't know what this shirt is called, look it up in the comments. Drake essentially lied about everything, but what you need to understand is Drake and Kendrick are from two very different places. Drake also said, hey, your label probably hates you. Kendrick said, no, they don't. They're right here. But why Drake said that is because usually in the music industry, if you leave your label, something bad probably happened. It was a fair guess. But what Kendrick is trying to say, and what has been trying to say, it's not always about the fame. It's not always about the money. This whole thing is not even about Drake. It's about hip hop, which is the Black community, especially your community, which is why Tyler and them came back home to perform with them. Which is that Roddy Ricch? Which is why old hip hop videos would always bring the neighborhood out, always drove around the city, always got food at that neighborhood spot that everyone loved. This is what Pusha T was trying to tell you guys with this picture, and this is why Princess can't join the Powerpuff Girls. You can't buy your way in, you can't fight with all the members, and you can't just say you're a Powerpuff Girl. There's a little more to it. And this is why your favorite rapper is Kendrick Lamar, because although he could have spent his whole career making hits, he decided to make music to uplift his community. But they still bangers though.
Yeah. Course guy asking, what do I think of Mr. Girl's Blackie face character / EP? You have to pay for me to rant about that. That's a proper rant request. But otherwise, I'll give you my opinion. I'm definitely not going to play any of the Blackie face videos on this stream because I'm pretty sure Mr. Girl's been fully banned from YouTube, and I don't want to get myself fully banned from YouTube as well, because God knows I be treading on the edge pretty often. I'm curious about this video. I haven't watched this yet.
Battle with the woke. Mr. Bircham is a recent adult animation project from the Daily Wire, part of the right-wing website / streamer's self-proclaimed efforts to win the culture war. It sees
Never
the
mind,
gruff,
we've got a
manly
request.
Richard Bircham trying to educate today's liberal kids the right way, and locked in an eternal battle with the woke DEI warrior, Mr. Carponzi.
Wait, I don't need to type your name in. Is gender identity a philosophy?
Okay, some of you are probably a little confused right now. I recently made a video that some of you may have seen talking about this show, among other things.
This sounds interesting. Oh shit, I just realized I've left the comment on screen and it's blocking all this text. I have to restart this. I'll just do it at double speed for this part. Okay, this is where I was at. She said, "Don't you like a little buzzing in your ass?" Wait, hold on. I missed that. Slay date him, girl boss. This video is entirely going to be like this, isn't it? I did not realize this was going to be all in Phoenix Wright format with no vocal dialogue. So I'm going to kick this up to 1.25 speed just so that the sound of the beeping is a little faster. Oh, hey, Bert, this guy is you. He's talking about how he's the most androgynous, least gendered person in the world.
Is this a real Phoenix Wright?
No. This is a video about is gender identity a philosophy?
Yeah, literally. Of course it is. What does that mean? Whatever. I just can't see how that. You even have a bottle opener here?
No. Wait. I opened that one, but it was hard to do.
With what?
This.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm about to.
This video doesn't have any dialogue in it. It's only text.
That's worse.
I can never be androgynous because my face is too narrow. So says you. Tell that to the cast of Inuyasha. I missed the funniest part so far. Well, then we just got to go all the way back, it sounds like. I'm gonna tell you the biggest moment like that I've ever had. Because I've also had the experience of, oh, your profile picture is a person. But the most I ever had that was the Steely Dan album cover, Aja. I literally just thought this was like a line. And then you realize that's a face, like that's a lady's face, and this is like an outfit she's wearing. Yeah, I had no idea for the longest time. In fact, here's the full, yeah, there you go. That's the outfit. So it's like a robe. It's like a lady in a robe. But it just looked like some kind of strange straw or something like that. Anyway, I've got the screenshot. So I'm pausing this for a moment to talk about something that I don't think comes up enough in the conversations about gender and performance, which is that for most people, most of your performance of anything is hyper localized. Like you know, for a lot of us, is literally just our house, but like, you know, your house, your town, the places you go. And then people who have an internet presence, there's like this kind of weird effect where you simultaneously have like the people you acknowledge as like people you talk to on the internet, part of your circle. But there's also this broader recognition that like everyone can see you. Any random person can come across you. Similar, I guess, to the feelings of like when you're out in a city and there's tons and tons of people, you know, or if you're in like a grocery store or something, just a place where there's lots of people, you know, you're being seen. You know, hyper localized, is that like when they changed the dialogue in Dragon Maid's dub? Yes, I guess so. But like, you know, if you are feeling like pressured to be a certain stereotypical way, it's not that necessarily all of society is telling guys to be this way or whatever, guys or girls. It is probably more likely just the way it is where you are, like, you know, the way people around you are, their personal ideas of what a man or a woman should be, which are going to be different in every single community. And while there are some things that are consistent, which we identify because we have the internet, we have TV, we have all these things that like show us what other people are going through that isn't that similar or is that similar. And so we have like a broad sense of what is like guy stuff or girl stuff. A lot of that is just because of advertising creating those ideas within different places, you know. Ellen, I see your message that says, is YouTube not letting me send messages? But I don't see any messages from before you saying that in the last couple minutes. So I don't know. YouTube's messing with Amy's messages too. Well, if you got to, go over to Twitter and use the chat there, I guess. Or Twitch. But yeah, I can see both of those two messages. Anyway, yeah, like I think that's part of where people get hung up is they're trying to say, I don't want to act like a guy, and somebody says, well, what does a guy act like? And you say like, oh, well, it's stereotypical stuff, but it's only stereotypical because like, you know, it is a stereotype within that environment, and some of those stereotypes carry throughout, you know, carry to different communities where like other places have the same expectations of men. But ultimately you're saying like, I don't fit in with men as they are as I understand them, you know, men as they are around me, you know. And that's part of where I think the these feelings come from. What's up?
Same guy. Are you still debating if gender's a philosophy?
Oh yeah, this is like a 30-minute video. So I have it on 1.25, but
People paying you to watch this
yeah,
stuff?
Jane's paid me to watch this one.
They pay you $30 for it?
30 Australian dollars.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Crazy. Who's James?
JNES.
Oh.
It's what it's pronounced as a Jane.
I guess, yeah. I see. Well, good for you.
E. I shall continue.
I must not be a man. I'm not intelligent or into crypto.
I'm just smelly. Smelly. You're not even smelly. Gundam. And you hide Gundam.
This really doesn't have any sound.
It has music
it has
and sound effects, but it doesn't have any vocals.
Who made this?
French baguette what? French baguette intelligence. The FBI made this video, I see.
Oh, I think that's a what's his name? Salvador Dali. I love you. Have a good one. Maybe I'll punch someone. Why not? This breakdown is basically how my transition happened, is flipping from one of these to the others. It went from me saying, well, I define what a man is because I am a person first, and then I decide, and then realizing that if no one else agrees, you might be right, but that isn't helpful. It won't help you fit into society. So, as Sam Hyde would say, enjoy being right and broke. This is every otaku. This character is every single otaku. I don't even think that's true for sexuality either. I think people are just dumb when they think, well, I shouldn't say that. I should say that I think people create their sexuality. No, not entirely. Like, you can be gay. You can just be born gay. But there is an extent to which, like, your taste is shaped beyond that, you know? And then you kind of revalidate your sense of taste, or you decide to broaden it, and where you can kind of go is dependent on your starting point, you know. But like, I think a lot of people just like identify there's themselves with a thing, and then they like tunnel vision on that. They're like, that's me, I'm straight, you know, I'm straight and all I'm going to be is straight. And then they just ignore anything that is to the contrary. Even if they're like literally sucking dick, they're like, I'm straight though, you know. And yes, there is a lot of that, especially in the South. It's interesting the way she asked that question, how I would have answered that. She says, you say there's something missing in female, but female can be anything you want. And it's like, yes, but you're coming at this like there's something to be gained from it also. Like, why identify as male or female if there was nothing to like emotionally gain from it, you know? Or like, she's kind of saying, what is there to lose? And I'm saying, what is there to gain? You know, In my mind, like I have an emotional gain from identifying as a woman. That's why I do it. It's not a logic puzzle. The logic puzzle says gender doesn't exist and it's really dumb to have one, but the emotional baggage says identify as a woman. It'll make everything better. and it works. I'll tell you, the reason I haven't checked out of this video is that it feels enough like the conversations I have inside my own head. While it's not necessarily offering me new information or things I haven't thought about, it's nice when, you just kind of see reaffirmation of all your thoughts and like full conversations you've had to yourself play out. There you go. That's the answer I was waiting for. All right. I enjoyed that conversation. It came to the conclusion I was hoping it would, that gender is all just a philosophy in the end. But it made me think, I find myself feeling like I am philosophically non-binary, but in practice trans. Like I don't believe that gender should mean anything, but it does, so it's inescapable. So it's like I get, it's funny because they were presenting it to the cis woman like, well, you're viewing gender as inescapable, which kind of would initially seem offensive to trans people, but we are actually, it's the same. It's like, no, I can't escape from the femininity. I tried to run from that for a long time and got nowhere. And saying, oh well, I can be a man who likes these things because men aren't defined by their taste. That didn't work. It just didn't work. Thinking that way, having that philosophy did not prevent me from transitioning. So it is, dysphoria comes from a different place from philosophy. And philosophy is pretty wanky in the first place. Are all of these videos like this? Yeah, okay, they're all like this. I would subscribe because this channel seems interesting, but I really don't want to have to sit through a bunch of text-only long videos. All right, Butthole Wee with $2 says, AEW best botches of 2022. All right. Sounds like wrestling. Sounds like wrestlers getting hurt. So this should have a lot of ooh. I didn't see the botch on that last one. He like stepped up. I think that might be the best one so far. That's the most legitimately like, what the fuck are you two doing right now? Well, that sure was some wrestling. Some bad wrestling. How can people hate wrestling for being fake? Man, I don't care. It's still fun as hell, like a circus. Yeah, I don't think people really hate on wrestling for being fake. I think that was more of like I think it's just something that like kids tease each other with when they're young because they think that other kids don't know. But like, I don't think there's such thing as a wrestling fan who like believes it is real. I guess there's the marks, but like most of them are not that, you know. Ellen says, I just think the physical acting of wrestling is generally kind of bad. I like the intrigue and the storytelling, but as soon as they start fighting, it loses me. It really depends on the wrestling you're watching. A big part of that problem is the WWE tends to just hire like the biggest guys who are not necessarily amazing athletes. They're trying to find guys who like look good on camera and have like bodies that could become action figures. Whereas like if you're looking at a lot of foreign promotions, it's just like guys who know what they're doing, you know? So if you're watching like Mexican luchador shit, if you're watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, if you're watching even like the fucking African mud wrestling stuff that people are always posting clips from on Twitter, it's way more exciting. Yeah, guys who can sell t-shirts, like Landon said. Well, and that's why the Briscoe brothers who work for, there's a small promotion called Ring of Honor, and I had found out about this duo called the Briscoe brothers from Endless Jess, who himself found out about them because of they made this video about how they tried to get into the WWE because they're really good tag team. Yeah, rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. They're really good tag team wrestlers. Everybody loves them, but they were told they just like weren't aesthetically pleasing enough. Like they were literally just too ugly, too bumpkin. They weren't even like profoundly ugly guys necessarily, but their bit was kind of being like redneck hope, you know, well, not hobos, redneck, like farm boys who live in New Jersey. I think they lived in New Jersey or like somewhere up in the Northeast, New Hampshire, probably New Hampshire. But yeah, so you got to watch the smaller promotions is basically what I'm saying. If you want to see any good fighting. Yakuman says, I still get comments about wrestling being fake as an adult, but I always explain that The Undertaker being an undead biker is a part of why it's cool. We know he's not a zombie man, but cool. Yeah, like it's people who say stuff like that don't understand how preposterous wrestling actually is. Like they think it's two guys having a fake fight. They don't understand that it's a comic book. Like it's the most ridiculous, over the top, insane. You know, the most of it is just chaos and people screaming at each other. You know, Sai is amazing. You're glad I'm still subs to Sai. Who is Sai? I don't remember. Wait, hold on. I must have just passed their channel for you to have said this. So let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was actually wondering about this. Oh, okay. This is the Lily Orchard troll, I guess. This whole channel just seems to be dedicated to trolling Lily Orchard. I don't know. Maybe they're in love with her. I would be, if I didn't have Bird, I'd be like, this Lily Orchard girl is cute and insane. I'm in. All right, let's find some more stuff to watch. Yeah. I guess I could keep watching this video about Mr. Bertram
And in the
being
process
queer.
of researching that video, learning about this show and the ways it's been received, I picked up on something far weirder than an abysmal quality level, or an ironic leopards ate my face style rejection from parts of the Daily Wire's target audience. And that's this show's queer fan base. Look this show up on practically any online platform that supports images, and you'll see lavish fan art of Carponzi and Old Dick here sucking face. Search for Bertram discussion in text, and you'll see people talking about this show like it's X-rated Heartstopper. The foursome between these four would go crazy. Mr. Bertram's gay daughter respects her dad so much. I want to draw Mr. Bertram pregnant, and that one gay teacher holding his belly, smiling at each other, and so on. Some of the accounts doing the stanning have fully committed to the bit. And at first glance, the question of what's going on here seems to have a straightforward answer. It looks like a pretty clear case of cultural hijacking, as we discussed in that.
Ellen said, I don't think I could get with someone with such awful media takes, even if they are cute, unless, hear me out, if she was very strong. Honestly, if everything else about her is tolerable, I would love if she has shitty media takes, because then we could just argue about that all day. But like, as long as the rest of stuff gets done, like money's good, the house situation is good. Like, I have to imagine that if you are capable, like if you don't get so angry that you leave the house, then when you have the makeup sex from the fight, from the media argument, it's going to go crazy, right? I'm trying to make, I'm not trying to like have a sexual fantasy about Lily Orchard. I'm just proposing the situation in which someone has really different media takes from yours, and then you argue about it all day, and then you fuck with all that energy that came from that arguing. This could be about anybody, but I'm just saying, I think that would be a fun relationship. I haven't tried this yet. I've had disagreements with Bird about takes before. Usually one of us convinces the other. Usually it's not like we argue until we get so heated that we have to fuck to release the tension. But I feel like this is definitely a sex fantasy you have. Not about any specific person, though. And also I'm making it up on the spot, so it's not what I had before now. But the situation being proposed to me by Ellen of what if you had to date someone with incredibly opposite takes of yours? I'm like, no, that sounds based. Like if everything else works about it, Trixie X anime snob confirmed. Well, see, no, that's a problem where not everything else is good. First of all, anime snob's not attractive. So that throws out the sexual component right away. I can't fuck that anime snob. So there's never going to be a point where we get so mad it becomes steamy, Gary said, I want that relationship with Landon. Oh my God. Oh no, Gary. You know that you're opening the floodgates now for Gary, Landon, Yowie shipping in this chat, right? You know this, right, Gary? You're stepping into dangerous territory. We don't really know what you look like, but you got some OCs. You got your avatar. We'll find a way. It can make it happen. It'll be just like what's happening with Mr. Bertram in this video. That one Lucario fan. Oh no, Trixie, that is what Anime Snob was always doing, shipping you in himself. This is dangerous. You've given Anime Snob an in. No, again, he's not attractive. There's no way he's got nothing. He's too ugly. He's abysmal in every way I can think of. He's repulsive. He's his voice is annoying. he's never going to want to watch any of the shows I want to watch. Even if Lily Orchard and I might disagree about stuff, I still want to watch all the shows she wants to watch. That Anime Snob, I guess Legend of Galactic Heroes, we could watch that, I guess. But imagine having to watch that next to Snob. Ugh. No thanks. I watched that show next to Bird. That was a great experience, Bird who could sit there and keep track of what's happening for me and explain it to me. Anyway.
Last video, Mr. Bertram
I'm more interested in this Gary Always Landon pic. Wait, you've posted IRL pics a few times, Gary? I didn't know that.
Intended, at least in part, to serve as a right-wing culture war beachhead. That's not conspiratorial thinking on my part, it's literally how the Daily Wire's streaming pivot was framed at its inception by Wire bigwig Ben Drybones Shapiro. But the power pieces like these have lies as much in the discussions they prompt.
As people says that Anime Snob loves Chibi anyways. That's true. He seems the most obsessed with that guy out of everyone he's obsessed with. I think he's made more videos about Chibi reviews than anyone else. Warning on Lily Orchard, dangerous territory to discuss attraction to her. She will fly off the handle and try to cancel you for it. She has done the same thing to her actual sister. She'll do it. Yeah, of course she will. She's trying to cancel everyone all the time for everything. She's fucking crazy. That is the MO of a crazy woman, is be offended at everything I can be and try to get everybody else in trouble for my feelings. Lily Orchard's a psychopath who deserves to be called out all the time and made fun of and run out of having an opinion. I don't know. She sucks. I'm tired of... I don't understand. Everyone's opinion of her content seems to be she's got the worst takes. So how does she have views? Are people just going to... Is it like The Room? Is she like The Room of fucking cartoon YouTubers? Like, people are watching her because it's bad? Like... Ellen says she can cancel me. I'd love the cloud. Exactly. I feel like I've been baiting for this to happen. If anything, please, by all means, start a fight with me, Lily Orchard. I'm sure you will come out looking sane.
Aftermath as it does in the immediate viewing experience. Think something like Sound of Freedom. What was ultimately a pretty unremarkable text ended up providing a big dumb stick for idiots to bang the groomer panic drum with. Attempts to hijack the discussions around a project like this then, perhaps through, widespread ironic standing, through the collective creation
Landon said Pomni can cancel me all over my face. Jesus Christ. Landon's... Jesus
an
Christ.
imagined gay Mr. Bertram show.
Basically, Lily responded to her sister going public with the allegations, Lily saying her sister was only accusing her because she was attracted to Lily. So Lily's sister... accused Lily of something. So Lily's sister accused Lily of doing bad things to her as a kid. And then Lily said that her sister only made those accusations out of a secret attraction. Sounds like they have some kind of fucked up weird relationship growing up to me. I am not interested. That's weird. That is some weird shit. All right. That's just all around. Yeah, cluster mess. That's a good description there. Yeah, I wouldn't touch any of that.
And crowding out genuine discussion from the Daily Wire's audiences and allies make as much sense as any other type of online pushback. Maybe a communal ARG like
I don't mind you bringing it up, Lucario, because I am intrigued. I'm intrigued by hearing that, but it also gives me a vision of like how deep I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'm not gonna like pick a side in that conflict. That just sounds like a fucked up situation where everybody involved has something wrong going on, I guess.
Even works better at disrupting culture warring than those alternatives. Given the way some of the target demo reacted to the show as is, you have to imagine at least a few...
I agree, Ellen. That would be a great premise for a problematic Eerie anime.
Potential Daily Wire Plus subscribers will have come across the show's queer facsimile in the wild and chosen to avoid the platform as a result. Sure, they'd be doing so for the wrong reasons, but less money in the Daily...
Lucario fan, you said, thank you for being so nice to me, Trixie. Thank you for being interested in what I have to say. Frankly, it's easy to be nice to somebody who is very thankful about it. You know, if somebody is, you know, like setting you up for it. Let's put it that way. It's easy to set people up for niceness. A lot of people set people up for being mean to them, you know. And some of it's like Landon is setting people up to have a stupid conversation with him. Like Landon is like, he's like, hey, I'm gonna say the stupidest thing in my head right now. And Yakuman, thank you for being so dumb. Lol. Indeed. Like you know, everybody's got their own communication style. I feel like Amy's always kind of trying to have like a rapier sword duel with you, you know, like a wit duel, like a haha. I have thrown down my glove. Have at thee is like the way Amy tends to come into the room, you know. Landon's like, who's looking for a drunken bar fight / dick sucking contest? Like, he comes in like the Bird's favorite Marilyn Manson song. I write songs to fight and to fuck to. If you want to fight, I'll fight you. If you want to fuck, we could do that too. Whatever the fuck the lyrics are, I don't remember them. That's
Pocket
how
is
Landon
no
walks
bad
in
thing.
drunk.
And so a narrative begins to offer itself. It looks like people realized all this. It looks like this whole thing, Queer Mr. Bircham, was a semi-organized Zoomer psyop. There are posts and threads here and there where this kind of parallel thinking is visible. It seems that here and there people had this idea and did it, managed to spread the meme in an attempt to defuse the show's efficacy and staying power. Hence this wholly inauthentic facsimile success, the existence of fan animations like this.
Oh my god.
To the point that you may well have clicked onto this video from one of the currently booming pieces engaging in this cultural punking.
That's
It even
incredible.
spread to the channel's Discord. When I suggested I would be talking about the show, the responses were less about the political Daily Wire side of things than about that fan art. Again, that's straightforward. That would make sense as a story, and parts of that are certainly accurate. But the truth is stranger, because that very romantic clip I just showed you, that's not a fan animation. That is in the show. And that's not it either.
Yeah, this is where I was hoping this video was going, because from the short clips I saw of the Bird is a huge Marilyn Manson fan, has to be pilled. From the short clips I saw of this show on Twitter, I kept thinking it seems like they accidentally just made a gay show. Like the show is trying to make fun of wokeness, but like it accidentally just kind of is. Like it feels like it's not. It feels like it's making fun of the not woke part of it because it's so badly executed. It kind of goes around to feeling like it's queer media. I've only seen little bits of this on Twitter. Amy's saying she's never heard about this until now. It's the Daily Wire, which is like a right-wing media organization, like had funded this cartoon years ago. It finally came out, I guess. And it's the second case recently of like, you know, a right-wing cartoon finally coming out and then being just dog shit. So hey, Cosmic Blue with $10 specifically to finish the video we're already watching. But yeah, perfect. We shall. I'm very interested in where this is going because I don't want to have to watch the show. But I am interested in someone going through and pulling out all the parts where it accidentally is successfully gay.
There is some amount of textual basis for the standing and counter readings performed by the show's queer fanbase. People were locating stereotypically queer elements in the character design from around the show's release, but as more episodes rolled out, those locations began to seem less and less shitposty. There's that above sequence, of course, in which Mr. Bertram hallucinates dancing sensually with the sensitive effete Carponzi. This is also one of his hallucinations, so, do with that information what you will. Another one sees him imagining Thelma and Louising with his best buddy Gage. You guys remember what happened just before they drove into the canyon, though, right? And in other episodes, in other hallucinations, we have moments like these.
How do you feed the real man's hunger? Go big! Go burly!
Which, guys, you must have realized how
Gay.
this sounds, right? Also, side
No,
note,
they
Bertram
didn't.
seems to...
That's the thing. That's the thing about closeted or repressed homosexuals, is that they don't realize that they are gay. They'll make a whole show about how not gay they are and accidentally reveal how gay they are in the process.
hallucinate a weird amount. I would
This is what
probably get that
repression
checked
does
out.
to you.
There's the fact that when he and Carponzi first met, Bertram began...
It's the same energy as me making an album called Gay and Dead and being like, I'm not gay, though. Why the fuck did you make an album about being gay, then? It just doesn't fucking make sense.
the homoeroticism.
I've got my eye on you, Mr. Bertram.
Unfortunately, I'm taken.
There's also this flashback Bertram has to being fascinated with big burly guys as a young boy. There is, of course, his I love cock. Sorry, I love wood mug. Sure, it's there as a visual gag, but the joke is that Bertram loves wood. In the 5th episode, Bertram literally tries out some pickup lines on his construction site, Man Crush.
So, do you volunteer here often? So you like half-inch ply for shear wall, or you're an OSB man?
And yeah, I do believe it was probably the Daily Wire who made the transphobic movie Lady Ballers about men playing in a women's competition, and in the process discovering there's not a single instance of this happening in real life.
Okay.
Hey, don't make this a prison hug.
Look, I'm not saying that by the end of this 6-episode run, the ironic stan culture visible in all this fan art even comes close to actually being reflected in the text. I am not saying that the
This is like this. It feels. I don't want to put this commenter on blast necessarily. Someone left a couple of comments on yesterday's video or one of the recent videos. No, it was on one of the Lolly videos, talking about their own feelings of questions about their gender, thinking about cross-dressing and not really being sure if they want to, sort of thing, and like eventually getting into a list of reasons that they considered themselves masculine growing up, like stuff that had reinforced their sense of masculinity as a assigned male at birth, so that they did not consider themselves as trans. And on this list of the reasons, the first one is like, well, I was really into Halo. And Halo being like a kind of a masculine military game, like made me feel reinforced in my masculinity. And I was like, buddy, first of all, video games are for fucking dweebs. Video games are for feminine men. Men, like manly men, drink, and that's it. They don't fucking play Halo. Second of all, I'm not trying to be as aggressive as I am. I'm not trying to be mean about this, because I just thought this was really funny, because I grew up, I didn't like any shooter games until Halo. Halo was the first shooter that convinced me to get into shooters. And there's a twofold reason. One, it was incredibly hyped up. And two, a boy that I kind of, in retrospect, had a crush on, but at the time I didn't understand these feelings, was really into Halo. And I got into it so I could listen to him talk about it, So I got an Xbox, I got Halo, I got the strategy guides, and like the Halo games are piss fucking easy. They're made to get newbie gamers into shooters, you know, like it's an Xbox flagship title full of goofy aliens that run around going, wow, and like the enemies are all cute. They don't even bleed red blood. They bleed like cosmic goop. There's almost no swearing in it, even though it's an M-rated game. Halo's for children and girls. Halo is not a manly game. Before Halo, shooter games were like SOCOM Navy SEALs, Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, you know, games about soldiers in wars, real historical wars. Like these, you know, like they used to be games for nerds. They used to be shooters were shit like fucking Rainbow Six, where it's like a tactical game. Like they were made for engineering dorks and stuff, like people with a fascination with wars. That is considered a stereotypically manly hobby, you know, being into simulations, being into war. Halo is not. It's a fucking sci-fi fantasy series about a ring world. It's shaped like a fucking wedding ring, for Christ's sakes. It's not manly. Halo is not manly. I just want to make this very clear. So that's the same energy I get out of this show. And I compared it also to like Gurren Lagann, right? Like people like me and my brother Victor or Nate's Best Guy Ever, like thinking that like Gurren Lagann gave us a sense of like, oh, I'm manly. Oh, this is a show about being manly. And it's like, it's a goddamn cartoon with bloodless violence, you know, like, and all of us at the time, at least, you know, people who were like literally afraid to watch violent media. Like Nate doesn't handle gore. I still can't handle The Boys. Think it's an amazing show. Can't handle it. You know, Bird just casually throws it on. Bird's just like sitting back. Oh, new Boys episode. Click. You know, watch people fucking blow up and nothing but tension for 50 minutes. You know, like guys will just throw on a Godfather movie or a fucking, you know, some other thing that is just people dying and like women screaming for 2 hours. Being into like, you know, a cartoon about what it means to be a man is like the most soft baby mode version of masculinity possible. Epic Mealtime is a great. So thank you, Anonymous. You brought me back home by reminding me of Epic Mealtime, because Epic Mealtime, yeah, being like the epitome of manliness. That's the same era as Maddox, internet writer Maddox, whose whole thing was being like super manly and, you know, I'll eat 2 pigs for every one that a vegan doesn't eat, you know, and everything I do is manly and cool. I eat hot sauce straight, and like all these fucking things that he was joking at the time. It seemed like he was doing kind of an ironic parody of this whole manliness idea. But when you listen to the Biggest Problem in the Universe podcast, it slowly became clear that he really does invent all of these like reasons for why the things he does are like secretly genius and manly and like and all that. And like the stuff he's doing that he's justifying this way is just not in any way genius or manly. It's incredibly autistic and gay usually. And like the undercurrent of so much of Maddox's behavior is like, are you sure you're not just gay? Like if you were just gay, wouldn't it solve so much of the hangups you've got going? Like so much of this stuff that you're like putting yourself through all these loops to justify why you're into women and stuff. And it's like, you don't have to do that. You could just be gay, you know? That's how this show reminds me of. This feels like that 2007 era of like hyper insistence on masculinity that is missing, that like men don't hyper focus on their masculinity. They go do things. They don't make cartoons about how not gay they are. That's gay. Anyway.
Shoe fits. But I am saying that there isn't not a shoe. Even for a right-wing show, as interested as this one seems to be in playing it safe.
I didn't mean to imply that men and gay men were two different things, by the way. I feel like I just meant, you know, stereotypical cis men, cis straight guys who are not thinking about their identity or the politics of their identity in the first place. Guys who are thinking about the sandwich they're going to eat and nothing else, you know?
Preserving a veneer
What
of
will be on my sandwich? That is all that's going through the average man's mind.
market palatability. It seems odd that there's so much here that can be taken in this way. Some have forwarded the idea that this was all deliberate from the get-go, that their own viewer-side attempts at hijacking were mirrored during production. Rumors suggest the animation team the Daily Wire used is largely queer, and that they snuck some of this in there. And that is possible, but only to a point, right? Maybe a sneaky guerrilla vandalism campaign on the part of external animators could explain why those fantasy sequences slay so hard, or some of the other visual elements in question, but there is no queer animator responsible for the fact that those fantasies existed in the script, nor for the existence of the other written anchors for the queer Mr. Bircham reading. Largely, then, the call's coming from inside the house here. Decisions made by Adam Carolla and the Daily Wire are behind gay Mr. Bircham, just like Carponzi. Initially, that does seem confusing, and I get it. It's easier to imagine this as sabotage than as an own goal. Why would this be the case? How is it possible that the quest to create a figure of peak non-woke manliness, a real guy's guy, is so treacherous? It's not like heteronormative masculinity is a fickle protean bundle of contradictions at the best of times, and that even good writers routinely fail at drawing on these archetypes without creating characters that scan pretty well as queer, right? Wait, no, what the fuck am I talking about? It's exactly that. So how coherent...
Aspie saying one of the guys on Daily Wire used to do a lot of cross-dressing roles in university. There's always something they're running from. Like, the louder you have to scream about how not gay you are, there's the gayer the thoughts must be. You know, like the more insistent you have to be. Just reminded me of Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder, the most like flagrantly LGBT person who has ever claimed not to be. Oh, it is Steven Crowder. Okay, yeah, that's who you're talking about. No, yeah, Steven Crowder. We'll watch a video later just compiling like gay things Steven Crowder has said and done, and it's like a staggering. It's unfathomable how much of it there is. And it's like, wow. Yeah, most of the anti-gay politicians turn out to be fucking men on the side. And a lot of that is just grifting, where it's just like people who, you know, are just like trying to get a paycheck, and so they're like, fuck it, I'll whoever's gonna pay me, I'll do what they say. But you know, a lot of it is repression. A lot of it is, well, this doesn't make me gay. Sucks cock, you know.
Is masculinity in Mr. Bircham.
It's not gay if the balls don't touch. Sucks 30 dicks in a row.
Men like Bircham should be gluttons.
While I admire the gluttony, syrup shots seems like a waste of stomach space. Anchors away. And by tonight, we better all away an extra 15 pounds. Hoorah!
But also need to fat shame kids.
Since when can you not fat shame? When we were kids, there was one fat kid in the class. Now they're all fat.
The make-believe military LARPing Bircham and the gang do in episode 2 is macho, but the next episode suggests funding arts instead of woodshop is the school being sissies.
Yeah, those pencil pushers need to allocate more funds for the arts because they don't have enough lead in their pencils.
Good men are husbands, are monogamous. Isn't
His
marriage
fucking
sacred,
voice is
but
so
also
annoying.
Wife bad.
I renounced my union membership. They force you to join, then they take your money and spend it on stuff you don't agree with. That's already my life. I'm married.
And also, getting laid is manly. Bircham's son, who the show imagines as a loser gamer in a state of arrested development, needs to rack up a body count.
PvP? I thought you could only get one of those if you had a girlfriend. And maybe you could get a girlfriend if you played a real sport. That button-mashing monkey is wasting his life.
He has over 50,000 followers.
Followers? What is he, a cult leader? Scratch that. Cult leaders actually get chicks.
But then he'll need to protect.
I mean, Yes, he is a cult leader, and yes, you can easily get chicks being an internet cult leader. That's all I'll say on the matter.
And otherwise, once he's married,
he's got an Iron Giant poster that says "Sayonara" on it in the background. I have to fucking pee.
And you know how many women I'd chosen to politely ignore?
because that's how you man. Bertram became a man through yanking it.
Oh, they closed Spears?
Yeah, the bra section of their catalog made me a man.
Yet minutes later, his son is an adolescent loser for supposedly doing the same thing.
Ha! You tool! Your hand hasn't been on anything other than a joystick and something I won't say in front of Jeannie in years.
One episode sees the Bertrams volunteering at Homes for Humanity, and the B-plot sees student aide Brad having to, quote, man up, face his feet.
You see, this is the product of no one in the writer's room is communicating with one another, I guess. Like, I don't know how many people wrote this show, unless it was all written by one person, in which case that person is so unfucking believably confused about so many things. They really don't know what they're trying to say at all. Otherwise, it reads like a bunch of different conservative writers who each have their own idea of what they're arguing in favor of, and they didn't all like run it by one another. Because, you know, conservatives, they well, what's the stereotype supposed to be? They're not communists, so they're not going to share ideas? I don't know.
Ideas get a girl, but while that's happening, so is this.
Consent with your neighbor first, please. Thank you.
Not doing that. What? I barely even hold your hand.
So getting women is masculine, but being with them is not? Being a good man is also being a good dad.
Eddie's earache got worse. He might need an operation. Do full-time teachers get health coverage?
Yeah, we get it, and it sucks.
Sometimes a man has to do what he needs to do, not what he wants to do.
You're a good dad, Rich.
But Bertram's hardly a nurturing presence.
Strike three, you're out. Ah!
I guess being a good dad is insulting your son until he learns to insult you back.
Noob. Insulting me and sweating? Finally, the son I've always wanted.
Let's take a step back.
That is a weird thing for a dad to want. That's not what I think the average conservative dad wants, is to be insulted by their child.
All right, no, let's just say it's a slippery thing at the best of times. And this isn't the best of times. These are not the best.
This show definitely wants to be F is for family. Unquestionably, that is what this show is. It's trying to be that and Rick and Morty, I think. It's just fuck awful.
Of writers. And so instead of being sanded down, contradictions stick out. Signifiers lose their solidity. Does being enamored by other men's successful performances of gender denote a longing to do the same, or a longing for them? Does a mustache signify old school manliness, or something else? In Mr. Bertram, instead of coalescing into the consistent, stable, empowering thing masculinity is often imagined as in the conservative mindset, lines blur and tropes drift. Its supposedly statuesque form is allowed to sag and denature. gender is performed, but accidentally, as a farce. So when I say Mr. Bircham is queer media, I'm not just supporting that hijacking, the ironic appropriation of the show by queer readers, the fan art. I'm not just saying it's queer media by consensus. I'm saying that the idea...
That's what's most fascinating to me about this video. I didn't know about any of the fan art and all that. I didn't know about the queer takeover theories. I literally had just seen a couple of clips from this on Twitter, and my take was, this seems accidentally woke. And it wasn't even based on the dad stuff. It wasn't even based on thinking he's gay. It was about the daughter stuff, because they haven't even talked about it yet, but his daughter, I assume it's his daughter, is like a Antifa, like all black wearing, and like there's scenes where she's like explaining to her dad why he's wrong about stuff, and they like accidentally wrote it where it's like, yeah, I just agree with her. Like, it just seems like he's the bad guy and she's the good guy, and if you interpret it that way, the show is almost not even wrong, So it was a weird feeling I got from watching that, and that's what I picked up on, that I thought this video was going to be saying, and it is what it's saying. I just didn't know about all the other reasons to think it might be queer media.
And assumptions underpinning this season of TV fit together so poorly that they practically beg the viewer to deconstruct them. I'm saying that in spite of itself, Mr. Bircham paints patriarchal masculinity as a hostile and often nonsensical thing. I'm saying that in spite of itself, there are moments within the text that apprehend and communicate the performativity of gender.
This is no time to be gay. Veterans Day is for dressing up in uniforms and marching in parades in the manliest way possible.
I'm saying that in spite of itself, the Daily Wire's Mr. Bircham acts as queer media. It's not on purpose. It's not as a result of the choice to add a gay character to that second episode. But it is kind of there, right? And so there is, I think, a very real sense in which the show's ironic queer fanbase, with every image, every M-preg fantasy, liberates a more complex Dick Bircham from the slipshod heteronormative masculinity the structure of his show tries to impose upon him. As we've seen, to do this,
I love that
to
phrasing.
act out these gestures of liberation, is to pick up on and amplify tensions and cracks already existing there in the text. They're just hidden behind a season's worth of anti-woke strawmen and the worst jokes you've ever heard. Hey, you've made it to the end of another Pillar of Garbage video essay. Good job. Go get some snacks. Rehydrate.
Okay,
I
what was
swear
the
to
other
God,
one?
this is the last time I'm
Ruby,
touching Mr.
right.
Bircham, so
We
you
gotta
can
watch
all
the
breathe
next
a sigh of relief. And hey, I've already had quite a few new
What
Patreon
are we on,
/ YouTube
11?
membership signups from that last video. And guys, thanks so much. It really does make a huge difference.
It
You'll
is
all
funny
pick up-
that the gay guy is just vouched. That's fucking hilarious. I hadn't thought about it. He's not quite fat enough to be vouched, but he's definitely it definitely looks a lot like him. All right, Ruby episode 11? Seems right. We haven't seen it yet. Pretty sure we watched 10. You tagged me on Twitter with something. Okay. Welcome to the world of evolution. The highlight of my day. Nothing good ever happens in my life. And then Lapusha. OMG, Lapusha paying for Raw Ruby. Hi. This morning, I had the fucking opening theme stuck in my head for like 4 hours. And I don't know the goddamn words. I only know the first part of the melody. So it was just over and over and over again. And no. We gotta hear that whole fucking thing. whether I ever like the rest of the show or not, it'll all have been worth it for that OP.
This is the part where you lose.
Over my dead.
That was a Mortal Kombat almost slant reference. Because in Mortal Kombat, in the scene where they introduced Johnny Cage, he's like fighting a bunch of guys, and then he says to one of them, "This is the part where you fall down." And the guy, because he was, it's an actor in a movie, and the guy had forgotten he was supposed to fall. So then Johnny's like, cut, he's all pissed off. And then at the end of the movie, when he beats Goro, he says the same thing to him before he kicks him off a cliff. This is the part where you fall down. And this guy said, this is the part where you lose, but he said it with like the same exact cadence.
This is the part where you lose.
Over my dead.
This is the part where you fall down. He should have just said the Mortal Kombat line.
Enough.
Especially since it was the same
Students,
because in Mortal Kombat and in this, it's like something that gets interrupted in the heat of when it would be the violent moment. So it would have been a great reference if they had just kept it exactly the same line.
Mr. Ark's aura has now dropped into the red. In a tournament-style duel, this would indicate that John is no longer fit for battle and that the official may call the match. Mr. Ark, it's been weeks now. Please try to refer to your scroll during combat.
When this girl's on screen, all I can think is, damn!
Gauging your aura will help you decide when it is appropriate to attack or when it is better to move to a more defensive strategy. We wouldn't want you to be gobbled up by a Beowulf, now would we?
Speak for yourself.
Ellen says, I like how they had little fighting game health bars. That's so dumb. Hey, that's probably why they ended up getting their own fighting game, though.
Remember, everyone, the Vital Festival is only a few months away. It won't be long before students from the other kingdoms start arriving in Vale, so keep practicing.
I like their
Those who
goofy
choose
little
to compete
dances.
in the
That
combat
was
tournament
cute.
will be representing all of Vale.
So, there we were in the middle of the night.
It was day.
We were surrounded by Ursai.
They were Beowulfs.
Dozens of them!
2 of them.
But they were no match. And in the end, Ren and I took them down and made a boatload of lien selling Ursa's skin.
Just, I hate Harry Potter so fucking much. Why does everything have to look so fucking much like Harry Potter?
Rugs.
She's been having this recurring dream for nearly a month now.
John, are you okay?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Why?
It's just that you seem a little not okay.
Guys, I'm fine. Seriously. Look.
Jean, Cardin has been picking on you since the first week of school.
Who? Cardin Winchester? Nah, he just likes to mess around, practical jokes.
He's a bully.
Oh, please. Name one
He's a
time
moment.
he's bullied me.
What the fuck was that? He just kind of waved his arms at him.
Come on.
That was a
Each
cute
of you
one.
will be assigned one rocket-propelled locker to store your weapons and extra armor. Additionally, your locker can be sent to a custom location based on a 6-digit code.
What? No, wait, please don't. I didn't land far from the school.
Jean, you know if you ever need help, you can just ask.
We'll break his legs.
Guys, really, it's fine. Besides, it's not like he's only a jerk to me. He's a jerk to everyone.
Ow, that hurts!
Please stop.
Get that dumbass bunny girl.
What a freak.
Okay. I didn't realize there was racism in this world against
can't stand people
bunny
like him.
girls.
He's not the only one.
How many
must
bunny
be hard
girls
to be
are
a
there?
Faunus.
Wait, did they just like introduce a whole new fucking race of people that they have never mentioned or shown, and now they're just not even gonna follow up on that? What was the deal with the bunny girl? I see she's in the ED. Maybe this means she'll be back. Good God. I hate school anime, and especially bad school anime, and especially bad magical school anime. Ugh. Ugh, that was rough. It didn't start off so bad, but as it went, it was just like, oh God, nothing interesting is going to happen in the rest of this episode. There was like a moment where it's like, oh boy. Love Live is a magical school anime, and my heart says Landon. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What do we do now? We finished the videos that we had assigned. I've got like 30 minutes worth of a Dick Show episode left. I agree that XXL is irrelevant. I don't need a 22-minute video explaining why, though. Welcome to the world of evolution. Welcome to the world of bloody evolution. Now that's all that I'm going to be thinking about for the next day and a half or something. Is that goddamn song. You did this to me. All right, next Ruby it is. This one is 7.5 minutes. The way that she slightly interrupts herself with the "Welcome to the world of bloody evolution" line, therefore making it impossible to quite sing along with accurately. Love it.
Yes, prior to the Faunus Rights Revolution, more popularly known as the Faunus War, humankind was quite adamant about centralizing Faunus population in menagerie. Now, while this must feel like ancient history to many of you, it is imperative to remember that these are relatively recent events. Why the repercussions?
Ellen, I'm with you. Cardin has done nothing wrong. That bunny girl
Have any
deserved
among
it,
you been
and
subjugated or discriminated because of your Faunus heritage?
fuck Juan.
Dreadful, simply dreadful. Remember, students, it is precisely this kind of
Dreadful, simply dreadful.
I mean, just look at what happened to the White Fang. Now, which one of you young scholars can tell me what many theorists believe to be the turning point in the third year of the war? Yes,
The battle at Fort Castle?
precisely. And who can tell me the advantage the Faunus had over General Lagoon's forces?
Dapis, you say you couldn't be paid to watch Ruby, but you're here right now. Maybe you've got something else open in another tab. You're just pretending to be here.
The answer, the advantage.
Green-haired instructor is legit one of the best characters. He's definitely got the best voice acting performance.
Binoculars.
Drawing but not watching, clever. That's the right way to do it. The proper way to engage with Trixie the Golden Witch content is to draw while you watch it, I
Perhaps you would
think.
care to share your thoughts on the subject.
At the very least, it's a
Well,
popular
I
way.
know
to
it's a
do
lot
it.
easier to train an animal than a soldier.
You're not the most
Or to be editing clips of the
open-minded
live stream that
individuals,
is
are you,
currently
Cardin?
happening while it's happening, I guess, is
No,
also...
I have the answer.
Gary,
It's
always you're
night
drawing
vision.
mint salad?
Many faunus are known to
Amazing.
have nearly
What
perfect
what are
sight
you
in the
drawing
dark.
her as? Or like
General Legume was
What's
inexperienced
the
and made the mistake of trying
what's
to
the
ambush the
occasion?
Faunus in their sleep. His massive army was outmatched, and the
Sounds
general
cool.
was captured. Perhaps if he'd paid attention in class, he wouldn't have been remembered as such a failure.
Mr. Winchester, please take your seat.
Wow, this is so boring, and I don't fucking care at all.
You and Mr. Ark could both see me after class
Like,
for additional.
if I hadn't been paid to watch this, I was about to
Now,
instinctively
moving on.
start hitting the skip forward button, like to power
You go
towards
on
something
ahead.
interesting.
I'll wait for
And then I
John.
remembered there's not going to be something
You two have been
interesting. You're not
struggling in
going to
my
power
class since
ahead,
day
and
one.
it's suddenly
Now, I
going
don't know
to,
if
oh
it's lack of
shit,
interest or just
hey,
your
it got
stubborn
good
nature,
again.
but
Like,
whatever
it's
it
not,
is,
it's
it stops now.
fucking, it's only
You
7.5
fought hard to gain
minutes.
entrance to the school,
It's just
and we
going to be
only accept
this.
the best of the best. So, I expect you to act like it.
Oh,
History
her
is
Sonic
important,
drink
gentlemen.
review.
If you
All
can't
right,
learn from
dope.
it, you're destined to repeat it. Pages 51 to 91. I want an essay on my desk by next class. Now, run along.
Ow!
I do like
I really will break your leg.
after he pushed that guy down. That was pretty funny.
I
That
have
was
an
a good
idea.
one.
Here, come with me.
Pyrrha, I know I'm going through a hard time right now, but I'm not that depressed. I can always be a farmer or something.
No! That's not why I brought you up here. Jean, I know you're having a difficult time in
Cosmic
class,
Blue.
and that you're still
My
not the
policy
strongest
for
of fighters,
words reading is $1 for
I
every
wanna help you.
350 words. So
What?
however long it
We
is,
can train up here
it's
after
$1
class
per
where no one can
350
bother us.
words.
You think I need help?
No, that's not what I meant.
But you just said it.
Holy fucking
John,
shit, this is boring.
Everybody needs a little
Why
push
does
from
this guy
time
get
to
a
time.
whole fucking
Doesn't
arc?
make you any different from the rest
He's
of us.
not even
You made it to
or
Beacon.
E.
That speaks volumes of what you're capable of.
Put him in
You're
the
wrong.
fucking title of the show if I'm supposed to care
don't
about
belong
him.
here.
We haven't
That's a terrible
established
thing to say. Of course.
fucking has Black the carrot. I don't even know her name. The girl who is black, not a black girl though. Huge missed opportunity. Why are they all? I guess we don't know what race they're supposed to be, but none of them got any melanin. Blake. Yeah, we haven't learned a fucking thing about her. We've not learned one fucking thing about Blake. I don't think we've seen Blake do fucking anything yet. Why are we so focused on Sean? Fucking Blake is she's in the name of the show.
You do.
No, I don't. I wasn't really accepted into Beacon.
Black people show up in season 3. That's so
What do you
funny. Like it
mean?
finally occurred to them.
I mean, I
Maybe they
didn't
should
go to
put some
combat school. I
people
didn't pass any tests. I
of
didn't
color
earn my
into
spot
their
at this
anime.
academy. I lied. I got my hands on some fake transcripts, and I lied.
What? But why?
Because this is what I've always wanted to be. My father, my grandfather, and his father before him were all warriors. They were all heroes. I wanted to be one too. I was just never good enough.
Then let me help you.
I don't want help. I don't want to be the damsel in distress. I want to be the hero.
John,
I'm tired of being the lovable idiot stuck in the tree.
Oh
while
my
his friends
god,
fight
they're
for their
really
lives.
going
Don't you
all out on the
understand?
melodrama.
If I can't do this on my own, then what good am I?
You're not. You suck.
Just
You're not
leave me alone.
charismatic.
Okay?
if that's what you think is best.
This guy makes me want to sing a Slipknot song about him sucking.
Oh, Jean.
You think your bully just materializes out of the fucking
From my
ether.
dorm room. So, you snuck into Beacon, huh? I gotta say, Jean, I never expected you to be such a rebel.
Please, Cardin, please don't tell anyone.
Jean, come on. I'd never ratted a friend like that.
A friend?
Of course.
He's about to get butt
We're
fucked.
friends now, Johnny boy. And the way I see it, as long as you're there for me when I need you, we'll be friends for a long time. That being said, I really don't have time to do those extra readings Dr. Ubak gave us today. Think you could take care of that for me, buddy? That's what I thought.
He's a head
Don't worry,
pusher.
Jean. Your secret's safe with me.
Wow, that was fucking boring and gay. I hated, and not in the good way. I hated that. Oof. Oof.
I used to think the world was full of stupid people. I may have been right the first time, but that's no way to live. A more charitable opinion I hold now is that people don't bring their mental A game to every situation. It's physically impossible. The brain would burn out trying to calculate the most cost-efficient, nutritious, morally righteous breakfast when you could just eat cold leftover pizza and get on with the day. Papa John's better ingredients can be found elsewhere. So on occasion, fighting for consumer rights means fighting the consumers themselves. Notoriously, the JCPenney effect surmises that people's purchases are emotion-led. People would rather pay more for a pair of pants that has a big red bargain sticker on it than that exact same pair of pants without the sticker at a lower price, thus disincentivizing honest business and incentivizing predatory practices against themselves. Sometimes greedy, hungry corpos are taking us for a ride. And sometimes, maybe you just have bad taste in men. Riot Games recently released a limited-time super fancy cosmetic collection in the League of Legends store that'll cost around $420 to $500 to obtain. I'm not going to pretend to know the best bargain exchange rates of League currency. People aren't too happy about the price, which is kind of odd at face value. It's like sending hate mail to a car dealership because you can't afford a Lambo, and saying they're predatory for daring to have it in the same lot as the beaters. But we're not taking this scenario at face value. The skin is a special first-of-its-kind commemoration cosmetic honoring Faker's induction into League of Legends' new esports Hall of Fame. It's a big deal. When asked about the price of the skin, Riot Game director Pew Lee...
You gotta think, for every one rich person, there's like 1,000 poor people. Statistically speaking, 20% of them are probably massive haters. And so there's plenty of hate to go around for every rich person or talented person. Basically anything with anything good going on. There's enough haters to get to all y'all, you know? We'll get to these next 2 Ruby episodes after this video because I fucking need a mental cleanse for a moment.
You responded. What we really think about on the morality side is that there are players who are willing to spend $200 a month on their hobbies. Liu continues, God knows how much I've spent on Warhammer figures. But it's really important that we capture that willingness and that ability to spend. I'm not going to make excuses for him, bringing up the word morality and phrases like capture that willingness and that ability to spend.
It is a hell of
sends
a
up
phrase.
more red flags than the Mexican soccer team.
It sounds like something I would say to be funny. Like I would say, oh yes, all of you, I must capture your willingness and ability to spend.
Down in the second half. However, he does a better job of clarifying his views on free-to-play monetization. If a lot of people that didn't have a history of spending on League all of a sudden buy the signature bundle, we'd be like, oh God, what have we done? But if these people historically have spent money on skins, new bundles give them a new avenue to support the esports ecosystem with a 30% revenue share. We believe that there's actually such a thing as having too high of a percentage of your players spending in a free-to-play game.
Whoa.
Because that means your free-to-play experience relative to your paid experience is not good enough.
Damn.
But Director Liu states that most of the people who play free-to-play games never spend money is correct. I've done a lot of my own research and have been privy to such information.
Speaking personally, as somebody who's never spent money in a free-to-play game, and it never even... No, wait. No, I must have spent money in something, right? No, I'm thinking probably I mean, it's not that I've never bought anything you could buy through the game, but I think it's all been for games you had to pay for in the first place. So I don't know.
During a heated moment back in August of 2019, an Apex Legends developer alluded to this fact and Respawn's own skin sale experiments. He called the community freeloaders. They weren't too happy about that. That same year, Congregate's Tammy Levi went into more detail.
Moho, I like the way you put this. It's within the human nature to fund projects they support through their epistemological framework. Yeah, they're basically saying like, well, we know that there are people who spend money on thing they love. Therefore, let's give them a thing they love that costs a lot of money. And it's like, well, okay, but they loved the thing first. Then they spent it's kind of, yeah, they're making it out like, well, it's just an inevitability that someone's going to buy it. And I mean, in the case of their game, they're probably right. Like, nothing they're saying is necessarily incorrect. It's just insustainable as like a mindset to be taking towards your player base.
During a GDC talk about why nickel and diming players doesn't work. And if you do manage to make a non-spender pay for something, it's highly unlikely they'll become a repeat spender. Big spenders are big spenders by their nature.
Yeah,
usually they make way more than the
law of the vital few. I've talked about it a lot, but 20% of your audience always will be responsible for 80% of your profits. You can literally see it right here live in our live stream show. I've got like, on average, I'd say like 40 people are usually watching. About half of them chat. About half of those are even ever going to super chat. And at a given time, it's only going to be, maybe 5 per episode. So like maybe 10 to 15 people regularly super chat to this live stream. And so that 10 to 15 people entirely make it possible. Everybody else gets to be here for free, but everybody else makes it fun. And I'm very good at giving you something to do that justifies your being here, regardless of pay. Like I put people to work. I try to find things for members of the audience to do. And ultimately, I don't need every single member of my audience to be hyper engaged for the project to work, but so I understand where they're coming from with this, but again, sustainability is a big part of it. Like I have to really, the people who pay me super chats, like if I pissed off literally 3 of you, like the show's over, unless I have 3 new super chatters that can come in, but like, or, if 3 people lose their job or whatever and nobody's new to come in, nobody gets a bonus to pay me more in their place. Like, so you've really got to be thinking about like the actual individual needs of those big spenders. Like I wonder how closely they actually like view these people as individuals, or if they're just viewing it as like a large number.
Average gamer and spend on non-utilitarian cosmetic
also,
purchases.
I see Cosmic Blue said 1050. I worked for the Department of Unknown Crises on r/NoSleep. You'll know when you're done because you'll see a bold hello. 3,559 words equals just under $10. Cool, or just over 10, whatever.
Like
we'll get to that
armor.
after this because I am now invested in this video.
Or on the off chance that they are a problem
and
spender,
also the 2 Ruby episodes.
It's rare that it's exclusive to video games. Probably spend more on DoorDash fees or something. Regardless, both ends of the monetization spectrum, fair to predatory, are in agreement that tricking people to spend money isn't profitable. Statistically speaking, a lot of people crying out against the skin's price tag weren't going to buy it in the first place, even at the lower $40 price. That doesn't mean their righteous indignation is wholly unjustified. I don't mind high-priced cosmetics, but I think virtual limited availability is a dodgy practice. This skin is the equivalent of a Michael Jordan Hall of Fame jersey, but you don't need a factory to create them in perpetuity. So why not keep it up or bring it back seasonally like the McRib? Keep the price, hell, raise it after a year. Let the high spenders wave around their big wallets. I was with Director Liu when he said it was about morals and selling exclusive items to big spenders. Why price it at over $400? Because it's a high-cost cosmetic for the high spenders, and we'd rather do that than try and convert free-to-play non-spenders. Fair enough. Why limit availability? Let me answer that question with another question. Do you want to make money, or do you want to make more money? Even though studies have shown that you can't really influence how much people spend, the jury's still out on whether or not you can influence where people spend. Anchor purchases are designed to keep you tied down to a game account and make it less likely for your credit card to float off to another game. They're not too easy to define, nor are they all predatory. Is Steam full of anchor purchases because my ever-expanding library makes it less likely for me to leave for a different marketplace? Or Deep Rock Galactic's Battle Pass is predatory, even though they're free and can be completed whenever? You need a lot of context to make that call. Limited time skins in video games, however, are a type of anchor purchase fully designed to keep you locked in and are not an imperfect solution to any problem. They are a problem. There is no weighing of pros and cons of morality. Simply, do we want to make money, or do we want to make more money? The other part I want to go over are the extenuating circumstances that, while not predatory, still feel scummy. I am an outsider to League of Legends, the game. I played once to impress a girl, uninstalled, and faked my death immediately afterwards. But I am no stranger to the esports and content creator scene. I'm a cutie pie. Look at the flash. Look at the moves. Do it's Arcane, the Magic Seeker. I can get into the club. I just don't dance. Commemorating one of the greatest gamers to ever exist is a monumental moment, yet it's been soured by a subset of obnoxious gamers and corpo greed, but it's not a 50-50 split. I don't believe the skin should have been made cheaper because Director Liu was right the first time. Most free-to-play people don't spend, and targeting luxury buyers is fine. I find loot boxes more predatory than high-priced direct purchases, but there's a certain subset of gamers who cry holy war against any in-game monetization and should be noted as being unreasonable. There's another loud subset of spenders that demand everything be catered to their low price range or everything be given out for free. Those are the people that incentivize businesses to use predatory practices against the rest of us. But of this blame game, I still assign 60% of it to Riot for using virtual scarcity, another 10% for exploiting the community's reverence for the League of Legends GOAT, another 5% because the skin's not a direct purchase, you need to use their in-game currency, and another 5% for being a global leader and potentially setting bad trends. In the end, I'm not saying Riot or gamers are idiots. I think maybe they weren't bringing their mental A games. Maybe Director Liu needs to reconsider what morality means or how far they're willing to see it out the door. I understand. Maybe he wasn't the one who priced it and was overruled by someone in accounting. But it is still worth mentioning that saying nothing was also an option. That's an option and a right I'd recommend some gamers exercise instead of being the boy who cried FOMO whenever they see a purchase outside of their tax bracket.
If you've been waiting your whole life for the ultimate asteroid mining simulator, then you're in luck. Delta V, Rings of Saturn is here, and it's a game that understands the importance of science in science fiction. The physics-based mining sim drops you in a world where every action has a reaction. Precision spaceflight means a mistimed thruster burst could lead to major ship damage, or your hold barfing up all your precious minerals. Will you unravel the mystery of the rings, or just spend your time getting rich? Because while money can't buy you everything, it can buy a ton of cool things like fission reactors, experienced crew members, or pogs. Delta V Rings of Saturn may or may not contain 90s era schoolyard games. Please consult a doctor if you remember pogs, as you are old now. Delta V Rings of Saturn is available now, so head on over to its Steam page today.
You know, maybe it's not the best idea to encourage people to assign blame based on an arbitrary numerical scale. But I think I'm at that point where I'll take any kind of personal accountability, even if it is based on pontification percentages. It could teach people that fault isn't exactly an all-or-nothing situation, leading us to having a little more sympathy for one another in our individual struggles.
Hearing that song makes me move like a Ruby character. Those were Pogs. Okay, I thought they might be Pogs
He's become
at
rather
first, and then I thought condoms.
That's weird. Doesn't he know we have a field trip tomorrow? We need our rest.
I'm sure our leader knows exactly what he's doing.
I guess so. Hey, John. Long time no see. Did
She's
you lock
got
yourself out
cute
again?
pajamas.
Nope. Got it.
So, where have you been lately?
I
mean, suck a dick in hell.
I did something I shouldn't have, and now Cardin's got me on a leash, and
I
Hero won't
blew
even
that
talk to me.
guy, and
I'm
now
starting to
he
think coming to
won't.
this school was a bad idea. I'm a
This
failure.
is so fucking emo.
Nope.
You're a leader now, John. You're not allowed to be a failure.
But what
You're not
if
allowed
I'm
to
a
be a
failure
failure.
at being a leader?
Nope.
You know, you're not the easiest person to talk to about this kind of stuff.
John, maybe you were a failure when you were a kid. You might have even been a failure the first day we met. But you can't be one now. You know why?
Because
Because it's not just about you anymore. You've got a team now, John. We both do. And if we fail, then we'll just be bringing them down with us. We have to put our
Is this
teammates
supposed to make
first.
him feel better, putting a
And
bunch
ourselves
of pressure on him? This
Your
doesn't
team
seem
deserves
like
a great
good pep
leader,
talk.
John. And I think that can be you. Have a good night, John.
You can't fail. That would suck. You would suck if you failed.
Hey, it's your buddy Cardin. I know you're probably busy with
You
that
don't
dust
want to
project,
suck, do you?
but I'm gonna need you to go out and get me a bag of rapier wasps. And make sure they've got some really big stingers. It's important, so don't screw this up.
Yes, students, the Forest of Forever Fall is indeed beautiful, but we are not here to sightsee. Professor Peach has asked all of you to collect samples from the
Lapusha
trees
says
deep
Jaunt
inside
is
this
about
forest,
Luna
and
failing
I'm
to
here
write
make
Ruby
sure
and
that none
telling
of you
himself
die
to
while
believe in
doing so.
himself. I mean, I think that's usually what this kind of arc in a story like
Each
this
of you
is
to
about.
gather one
Is
jar's worth of red sap. However, this forest is full of the creatures of Grimm, so be sure to stay by your team.
it's kind of like how ultimately at the heart of every magic system, like the core of why it works is because you know, the story must continue. And so you know, anybody who is in a position to continue the story, they will be able to tap into the source of all magic better than anyone else ever has.
Teammates, we will rendezvous back here at 4 o'clock. Have fun.
Come on, buddy. Let's go.
Lapusha, you said there's no magic in this world. I am not sure how that's relevant to what I was just saying, unless you got confused in my metaphor. But I was talking about, I was drawing a parallel to any other anime, any shonen anime or any.
Hey, great work, Johnny boy. Now that wasn't too hard, was it?
You know, any anime, any story actually.
Great. So
The way that power works in story is whatever direction the story is going in, the character who will bring the story in that direction wins. That's why they have the powers they have.
I bet you're asking yourself, why did my buddy Cardin ask me to collect 6 jars of tree sap when there's only 5 of us?
That is one of the many questions I have asked myself today, yes?
Well, come with me and you'll find out.
Oh.
Collect that jam. Get all the jams. Oh, it's like sap. Get that sap. Get all the sap. Oh my
Cardin,
God, she drank
what's
it.
going on?
Payback.
I'm glad they're finally in a place that has some kind of unique aesthetic element,
Red hair,
utilizing the medium of a cartoon, you know.
All right, boys. Last night, old John here managed to round up an entire box full of rapier wasps. And
what?
now, we're going to put him to work. Now, according to one of the essays you wrote
The
for me
fuck
last
is a
week,
rapier wasp?
these nasty things love sweets.
Like a
I'm
wasp,
thinking
but
it's time we
rapier?
teach her a thing or two. And you're going to do it.
Do what?
Hit her with the sap. Either that, or I'll have a chat with Goodwitch, and you'll be on the first airship out of Beacon.
Butthole Weeb requested a specific timestamp in a Comments on Comments episode. I guess we'll go there after the other stuff. Don't do it, you fool, you pansy.
No.
What did you say?
Welcome to the world of revelation. Oh shit, you've been jammed. It's kind of giving off like a Saint Seiya vibe in that armor. Oh, that was the whole episode. Wow, that felt a lot shorter than the last one at least. I think maybe I tricked my brain into thinking something would happen because they had gone to a location and all. It's funny because I remember in Mashal being frustrated because like episode 4 or something kind of like sets up an arc where like somebody's being a bully and then like it ends in kind of an unsatisfying place, but then the next episode is like incredibly satisfying because you see the guy get his shit rocked. But this has been like that same feeling of interrupting before anything has really happened over and over again. Oh, believe me, Ellen, I am never expecting this show to be extremely satisfying. Except for when I start up the episode, actually. Every time I start the show, I expect to be like in heaven. Like it's like doing heroin and then coming down from
make
heroin,
sure they send you back to mommy in teeny tiny pieces.
I don't care what you
Not that I've ever done heroin. It's just,
You are not
that's the
messing with my
stereotype.
team.
What? You think talk like that makes you tough? You think you're a big, strong man now?
Uh-oh. His AT field manifested. Didn't he have this the whole time?
Let's see how much of a man you really are.
They're gonna take his fucking pants off and give him a cock check, it sounds like. This guy is definitely gay for that little blonde twink. Like, no question. I don't know about Blondie. I don't know his feelings. I don't think he's gay for that guy, at the very least. But that dude definitely wants to get in that little blonde butt.
Did you guys hear that?
Ursa! Ursa!
What? Where?
Back there! It's got carded!
John!
Yang, you and Blake, go get Professor Goodwitch.
You two, go with them. There could be more.
Crap!
Oh no. Wait.
That was
Wait.
Hold on. The move he's doing here, I swear to God. Cassandra from Soul Calibur. Somebody back me up. Is this not literally like frame for frame one of Cassandra's moves in Soul Calibur? I don't know about animation rip so much as just like probably thinking, oh, hey, he's fighting with a sword and a shield. Like, what can we use for reference? Oh, I know, Cassandra from Soul Calibur. I guess that's kind of an animation rip, but I doubt they like traced it or anything. They probably just, looked at it and matched back and forth. And it wasn't like all of his moves looked like Soul Calibur moves, but just that very first one. It felt like an intentional reference, knowing how much they like fighting games, the creators who made this show. That definitely felt like it was meant to look like that Soul Calibur move.
You have your glyphs. My semblance is polarity.
You can control
What?
poles. No, you dunce.
That was actually funny.
Magnets are cool too. Wait, where are
Magnets
you
are
going?
cool
Yeah,
too.
We gotta tell them what happened.
That was the
We
best
could.
comedy dialogue in the whole fucking show
Or
so far.
perhaps we could just keep it our little secret.
My power is polarity. You control poles. No,
Holy
magnetism.
crap, John,
Magnets are cool
don't
too. I
ever
like it.
mess
It was
with my
actually
team.
good.
My friends. Ever again.
Wait, so hold on.
Crap.
Wait, where are you going? Means she has control over magnetism.
You glyphs. Well, Ruby has her speed. You have your glyphs. My semblance is polarity.
Semblance.
You can control poles. No, wait, where are you going?
Perhaps we could just keep it our
So
little
what White
secret.
does is glyphs, but doesn't she also do like ice?
Holy crap, John.
Are they gonna make gay
Don't
love
ever
now?
mess with my team. My friends. Ever.
Look at how excited he is just to be holding hands with Blonde Boy. Like, Jean is like trying to be tough, and this man is cumming his fucking pants that he's actually holding hands with this guy. I think he's realizing, maybe I belong on the bottom in this relationship. Maybe that's all he really wanted, was to bully him into being the top that he knew he could be. Maybe he was trying to ice glyphs. Ice is a bonus of the glyphs. Vice can also summon monsters. Okay, so I guess different glyphs can do different things. So your power, she's got speed, you've got everything, and I have polarity.
Again. Got it?
It's kind of like in the Justice League, how like Green Lantern's power is like manifesting anything I can imagine. Oh, this guy's real strong. This guy's fast. This guy can manifest anything he can imagine. The Winx Club problem, Koopa Shell 10. I do not know Winx Club. Also, I'll put this on screen just because most of the chat's on YouTube, and they probably won't see it otherwise. But I don't know about Winx Club. Somebody go jump over to the Twitter chat and talk about Winx Club with Koopa Shell.
No Cardin tonight?
If you know about Winx Club.
I thought you two were best buds.
Pyrrha. I'm sorry. I was a jerk. You were only trying to be nice. And...
Agadine, manifest that sexy girl, furry girl with tan lines from yesterday. I know, right?
I had all this.
But she'd be green because everything Green Lantern manifests is like a green version of itself. So you'd have to get really detailed with the tan lines, like, green toning it. I don't know if you can do more than one green tone either. I don't know how detailed the green. It's supposed to be able to manifest anything you can imagine, but I don't know if it is like if you can also do you have to manifest the way light reflects off of the object to create the color? I don't know. Lapucius is so. Does someone need to make you watch Winx Club? I guess if that's something you think I need to have seen, and it won't get me removed from YouTube by watching it.
stupid macho stuff in my head.
John, it's okay.
That one, Lucario fan says, Wings Club's problem is that they introduced too many main characters and sidelined the black girls. That sounds like something that a show run by an evil marketing team at the top level would end up doing. Well, these characters aren't selling as many toys, so put more whites in the show.
Your team really misses their leader, you know. You should come down. Ren made pancakes. No syrup, though. You can thank Nora for that.
Wait! I know I don't deserve it after all that happened, but...
It landed win KKK club.
Still be willing to help me? To help me become a better fighter. Hey!
Your stance is all wrong. You need to be wider
She about to
and lower
top
to the ground.
fuck out of him. God damn.
Let's try that again.
He's getting pegged tonight. Well, the show's gotten a lot better at like sexual tension that would obviously lead to fan art, you know? But it continues to be shit. Just total shit. Anyway, I have to read a thing now. I worked for the Department of Unknown Crises. On r/no sleep. All right. Cosmic Blue, any notes I need to know about this before I read this? I believe he said that I would stop at hello, where it says hello. It says, hold on. Yeah, you'll know you're done when you see a bold hello. So am I only reading to the hello then? r/no sleep tends to be very cringe. Well, we'll find out, I guess. Okay. Let's consider some hypotheticals. Let's say you got yourself a master's degree. Let's say that you got a job at a small branch of state government. Let's say you worked there for the better part of your early adult life. You built everything around that job, got an apartment, moved in with your girlfriend, had an orange cat with seemingly a single brain cell. Life is good, right? Hypothetically. Then along comes this man, says he works in conjunction with the federal government and the private sector. The guy reeks corporate, got a suit with a custom cut, no labels on his clothes, tells us that we're going to be working closely with a small department that has recently got a boost. Apparently there's a need for expansion and some people from my branch will be moving up. Let's say that one of those people is me, hypothetically. All right, I'm going to stop that. Sorry, it gets to me. You could safely presume that I've changed a couple of details to make myself less recognizable. I got to get through the filters. I had to move from Milwaukee up to Superior. Sarah and I tried to make it work, but she couldn't leave the city behind. It came down to the choice between me and the rest of her life. It made sense for her to stay. Kind of pissed that she kept the cat, though. That thing loved me. I started working at the DUC in September of 1998. At first, I didn't even know what the acronym stood for. It wasn't a matter of secrecy, but they had these stupid sayings plastered along the walls that people followed to a T. For example, water of a DUC's back. This was the standard operating procedure. Don't ask too many questions. Let your questions and worries drift right off, like water off a duck's back. They displayed this proudly on the lunchroom with a picture of a duck peacefully sleeping by a pond. We worked in collaboration with other agencies in Michigan, Iowa, and Minnesota, mostly Minnesota. I helped them develop software to codify reports of invasive ecological species. It would break down verbal reports with bare-bones text-to-speech system, which in turn is transcribed and separated into categories. Categories were measured, analyzed, and turned into probability reports. Once information has been categorized, the most prominent reports would be sent to the department lead. Seems simple by today's standards, but back then it was cutting-edge stuff. It was November 1999 when we finalized the first version of our system, lovingly named Daisy. Hours before the launch party, the department took me to his office, closed the blinds, and sat quietly across from me for about 2 solid minutes. This man, the department lead, was Thomas Rubin, a 67-year-old ex-drill sergeant with a penchant for the dramatic, kept his head as bald as his lies. Having worked there for over a year, I thought I had a foot in the door by then. Turns out I was still on the outside until that very moment. Thomas poured me a shot, mint schnapps. To a job well done, he said, raising his glass. I accepted the invitation and downed the shot. What the hell, right? Do you have recurring nightmares? He asked. Seeing something strange at night? Those last few hours before the sunrise? Do the shadows gain a peculiar tint? No, sir. You're not a very haunted man, are you? I am not, sir. I can work with that. He poured me another drink. I can get you working on the real deal, he said, but you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it one bit. That sound like a party to you? I took the glass and studied it, little sugar crystals swirling around, backlit from a lone computer screen. I downed a second shot, and Thomas smiled. Imagine a lighthouse, he said, and whenever someone thinks about the lighthouse, it lights up. You with me so far? Yes, sir. And this lighthouse draws in all kinds of things from far and wide, traders, smugglers, warships, everything. But you don't want that. The beach is closed and these ships are bad news. What do? We turn off the lighthouse, sir. But it comes right back on whenever someone thinks about it, even when you do it. We demolish the lighthouse, sir. Same thing, pops right back up once you think about it. Try again. We forget about it, sir. You can't unknow something. Then you'd have to go after the people that know about it, and you'd have to be careful not to learn anything about it yourself. And that's what we do, said Thomas. We turn off the lighthouses. Thomas elaborated over the course of 3 more shots. What he was describing was an invasive ecological agent, something that literally grew from the ground. Its very presence acts as a sort of go-ahead for other more dangerous entities, but thinking about it too much causes it to appear. Not immediately, but slowly over time. The more you knew, and the more intimate your knowledge about it was, the stronger the connection would be. It was safe, though. You had to know the details to trigger it. Thomas gave me the example of a red lily. You couldn't just know it was red or a lily. You had to know both of these things to imagine it clearly. Once you did, there's a chance it starts appearing more and more in your everyday life until it takes physical form. And by then, you've opened an express highway to something far darker and far worse. The DUC, or the Department for Unknown Crises, was founded to combat these entities in a way that doesn't endanger the general populace. We are preventative mostly. The software we made scrubbed away all details and simply stated an address, sometimes a person, and the likelihood of there being at least one physical manifestation of the invasive species presence. As the system was automated, there was no way for us to know the details. Only the computer knew. Sorry, I just noticed the conversation in the chat and then realized it had absolutely nothing to do with what I was reading. According to Thomas, there was a time when these things had been completely eradicated. Right before the start of the Second World War, there had been a concentrated effort to remove them. The methods they used was later adapted in creation of the DUC. Turns out those things can't ever be truly removed. There was an author who documented these ecological entities to such a degree that it could be used as a gateway. While he passed away in 1926, possibly as part of the containment, his diaries were discovered in the 60s. Since then, the invasive species had free reign with no one to stop them. There had been some loose efforts, mostly from the private sector, but it took the creation of the DUC to start work on a larger scale. And there we were. From that point forward, I started to work with more specific field equipment. Since being able to imagine the object as something that triggers it to manifest, we needed a way for field agents to physically remove them without putting themselves in danger. We came up with something we called the Blur Guard, a full headset that removes all color, dampens sound, and mildly blurs your vision. Going back to the example of a red lily, the Blur Guard turned it from a red lily to some kind of flower. That's not enough detail to trigger a manifestation and thus deemed safe. Since our software knew what to look for, we incorporated a camera and basic image recognition. There'd be a little green light showing up whenever what we were looking for was in view. From that point on, our field agents could play hot or cold until they found what they were supposed to remove. And when it came to people, well, we can't kill them or have them unlearn something. So instead, there was a targeted effort to herd them into a place where we knew this problem was prominent enough to go unnoticed. The DUC had done it for decades. These were personalized, targeted efforts. Maybe sending a particularly juicy job offer, enticing a target to move, things like that. We focused on 2 main sites, a rural town in Minnesota and one in West Virginia. There were talks of one up in New England, but that was a separate department. These places have been absolutely scrubbed. To this day, you can't even find them on a map. Our colleagues in the private sector brought out pretty much everything there is to own, giving the DUC close to full control. It might seem cruel, but most of these people had no idea that they'd been manipulated. They lived good lives. We did our best to turn off as many lighthouses as we could, but in a town like that, some were bound to pop up eventually. Let's skip ahead a couple of years. In the summer of 2004, I had been on rotation, assisting with the development of new equipment. I was also regularly updating both Daisy and the Blur Guard. We had implemented generalized search filters looking for the trigger words that Daisy could use, increasing our information input tenfold. Hell, about 90% of forum infrastructure could be breached to censor descriptions of the invasive agents if needed. We had basic bots prowling most major discussion forums to contain eventual spread. One night, I'd taken my work home with me to work on a camera light. Some field agents had mentioned image recognition issues in low-light areas where the camera refused to work, so I figured an extra light source would go a long way. I was blasting my work time playlist on my laptop, sipping on my second rum and coke. If I was going to do extra work from home, I might as well make an event out of it. Just short of midnight, it was time to try it out. I turned off the lights, put on the helmet, and checked to see if the camera light auto-activated as instructed. It did. Strange thing, though, I was getting a green marker. The helmet was recognizing the invasive element right in front of me. I know my own department top to bottom, so I know exactly what I was looking at, blurred helmet or no. I'm obviously not going to describe it to you, but it had the appearance of a household plant, quite large. I'd had it in my window for years. For the sake of storytelling, let's call it a red lily, like in Thomas's example. Suddenly it dawned on me. Now I knew what the invasive agent was. I couldn't unlearn it. From that point forward, I was going to be a threat to the department. This was an invitation for red lilies to pop up out of nowhere, possibly making everyone aware of them. But first and foremost, they'd be a lighthouse for other things to come. I pulled the lily out of the pot, roots and all, and shoved it down the garbage disposal. I swear the damn thing screamed. The empty pot was left on the windowsill. Moments later, my phone rang. Turns out my Blur Guard was actively connected to the Daisy system. It probably sent out a report to the department lead with my name and address the moment it recognized the species. I held my breath, trying to calm down. This was going to spark a series of events. There'd be a report, an investigation. I'd most likely lose my job and be forced to relocate. No worse. This was unprecedented. As expected, the call came from Thomas. "What's going on?" he asked. "I'm working on the internal camera light. I think there's a malfunction. We've got a positive match on your location." I know. It's not a big deal. It's nothing. "We're going to stick to protocol on this one," said Thomas. "Expect 3 field agents on site within 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere." I pulled my hair. My hand wouldn't stop shaking. I usually get the shakes when I'm losing control. I figured I'd better remove all traces of the plant, whatever parts were stuck in the garbage disposal and whatever remained in the pot. Except when I looked back up, there was another red lily growing from the pot, almost exactly the same, like it had never left. I can't stress this enough. You can't unlearn things. You can't unremember something. I tried not to think about it, but that just made me think of it more. I fetched a Rubik's Cube from my desk to focus on something else, but as soon as that color showed up, my mind sank back to thinking of it. I got the garbage bag and threw the whole pot in along with the rest of the garbage. There'd be nothing left. I went room by room looking for anything remotely resembling it, but there was nothing. So I left the apartment intent on throwing it all away. But see, there's this communal garden project outside my apartment building. It was filled with these things. There were dozens of red lilies. My mind blanked, and I could feel my pulse rising in my throat. This entire neighborhood could be compromised, possibly more. I couldn't for the life of me remember if the lilies had been there earlier that day or if it was a reaction to my realization. These things were insidious. They not only appear when you think about them, but they make a conscious effort to pop up when they are least expected or wanted. I called my landlord, Jerry, and started pulling up lilies from the community garden with my free hand. Some of them screamed. It was like a tiny wail from a baby. Some of the lilies clung to the dirt, digging their roots deeper. Others came willingly. One of them withered in my hand, giving up completely. When Jerry finally picked up, I was out of breath. I need to ask about the communal garden project, I said. I work with the Department of Fish and Wildlife. There's a bit of an invasive species growing here, and I need to establish a time frame as to when they appeared. All right. The red lilies, the community garden lilies, they're actually a dangerous and invasive species. Do you have any idea how long they've been here? Red lilies? Oh, yeah, we've had those for a while. How long? There was a silence on the other end. Maybe he was thinking about it. I didn't have that kind of time. How long, Jerry? Look, I don't know, 8, maybe 9 years? I grabbed my hair and pulled. The pain in my scalp forced me to concentrate. A handful of hairs gave way. Thanks, Jerry. If you see those, throw them away immediately. I'll do that. And don't tell anyone. We don't want to alarm people. I hung up. I was flailing, breaking protocol left and right. I was a breach waiting to be sealed. I was on my knees in the dirt, pulling up red lilies by the handful. One of my neighbors walked past, and I could hear her dog whining at the sight of me, or maybe it saw something I didn't. There was no telling what this would mean. Most breaches we'd encountered was 1 or 2 of these things at most. They were usually contained to the Minnesota side of the operation. Them having skipped the state line and latching onto me was alarming. This could prompt a whole new level of response. I knew Thomas had a level black response where termination of lives would be necessary to contain the threat, but we'd never employed it. Not yet. But looking around me and running the numbers, this might be it. This could be the first time they'd have to kill people, and I'd be the first in line. The field agents would be there at any moment. My hands were red and raw from pulling up lilies and stuffing them into the garbage bag. I was so frantic that I grabbed everything that even remotely resembled them. Anything red, anything lily-shaped. I tore up more than half the community garden in 10 minutes flat. I could hear a car coming. I couldn't take any chances. I looked over the garden wall again, couldn't see any of them, and sprinted to the garbage cans. The moment I'd thrown it all away, I saw headlights turning the corner. I recognized them. I brushed my hands off the best I could and shoved them in my pockets. A white hatchback with government license plates pulled up, and 3 people got out. I tried to stay calm. I tried not to think about red lilies. I tried to smile. I could tell that I was looking at Agent Estevez, Young, and Owens. I'd worked with these people plenty of times to prep them for excursion. Never to this extent, though, and never on this side of the states. They'd all fixed and activated their blur guard helmets. Rough night? Asked Estevez. Yeah, I nodded. Working on an update. The helmet kinda, Sure. We'll just check out the apartment and be on our way. You mind waiting down here? No, that's fine. They turned on their image recog, synced their comms, and gave me a pat on the shoulder. We'll be in and out, said Young. Sorry about the trouble. I watched them ascend the stairway while I stayed out by the garden. I was going to make sure nothing popped up. If the agents just up and left, I could come up with a plan. I'd tell Thomas eventually, but I had to be clever about it. I had to assess the damage and spread to make sure I could trigger a quarantine rather than an eradication-level response. Still, looking around the apartment complex, there were probably hundreds of people living there. These things could have made their way into every single household, opening the way for pretty much anything. Not that I had the slightest idea of what that might be. I was lost in thought for the better part of half an hour. What the hell was taking them so long? Had they found one? I walked up the stairway and put my hand on the apartment door. It was quiet. It shouldn't be quiet. I got this sinking feeling like my body heat was leaking out of my feet. My mind started to race with possibilities. Maybe they left, went to the wrong apartment. Maybe they're watching TV on my couch, having a beer, burning a red lily in the tub. Whatever they did, they wouldn't do it quietly, and this was quiet. I pushed the door open and was met with a chemical smell, like a moist mix of methanol and iron. It was strong enough to taste. Estevez? I coughed out. You guys okay in there? No response. I stepped back out, gasping for fresh air. The smell burned my nose hairs. My ears teared up as I tried not to sneeze. I didn't want to go back in. I knew it was bad. I could feel it in the pit of my stomach. Still, I didn't have a choice. I stepped back in and shut the door behind me. I turned on the lights. They'd been torn to pieces. There was blood dripping from the ceiling, 2 severed arms on the kitchen table, an armless, legless torso resting on the couch, the blood sinking into the cracks in the leather. The floor was covered in gore, torn straight from their bodies and left in the open. Muscle, sinew, vital organs all splayed out onto the floor and the furniture. There was a single red lily in a brand new pot resting on the windowsill. There was a bright red handprint on the bathroom door. I gently pushed the door open only to reveal the severed heads of Estevez, Young, and Owens, unceremoniously thrown into a pile on the floor of my shower cabinet. I don't know how long I stood there. My mind went completely blank. I could honestly not tell if it was real or a nightmare. For a moment, I was awash with this intense relief. It had to be a nightmare. It didn't make sense for something so terrible to happen so suddenly. It took me a while to realize that there was something looking at me from the bathroom mirror. I turned to face it. My face wasn't there, just a dark space where my face ought to be. It was like staring into a hole, vaguely shaped like a humanoid. It followed my movements as I leaned my head left to right. We looked at one another in silence, hearing only the blood dripping from the living room ceiling. A trembling whisper burrowed into my spine. Hello. It was one of the things Thomas had warned us about. This was one of the ships that came to shore following the lighthouse, one of the countless entities invited into my world, drawn in by this thing that ought not to be. Well, I was told to stop at hello. I guess there's a bunch of hellos, though. But it ends with stay out of rural Minnesota. Well, I've been to rural Minnesota. It's nice. Well, cute. I think from a writing standpoint, this whole opening bit feels like this person maybe was just kind of trying to get their gears turning, like get themselves into the headspace of writing this story and character, but it feels like you could have easily cut everything before this and you would be missing nothing. Like literally you don't even need any of this part. Like just starting from here, you'd be fine. In fact, yeah, just start from here. This is a more artful way to start. You don't need any of the information before that. And it makes it more like this feels like it's trying to convince you that this is a true story, but it so quickly becomes obvious that it's not, that it's like, well, okay, that feels really goofy, and then like continuing to make it feel like they're telling a story. Like the story is so broad in its details, it's summarizing like these large swaths of time, but then when it slows down to the actual events of like what happened moment to moment, it's too detailed, like where the characters are like stuttering and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, it no longer feels like somebody describing something to me when they're like, when it's written, when the dialogue is written like it's happening as opposed to being described, So that was a little, those things bothered me, but otherwise the writing was mostly fine. Yeah, the idea of it is neat. It very much feels like something Joe Frank would have come up with. Like this feels like not as well written, but it's the same kind of short story as like a Joe Frank story where like it starts off kind of feeling like it's couched in reality, but as it goes, it just keeps getting weirder and more sci-fi, until it's like totally broken away from reality and just become horror. I think where it lost me the most is I would have liked more specifics on what they were doing when he's talking about like they're just moving people out of these towns and then like erasing them. And he's like, other than that one part where he's kind of specific about like we would give them like job offers to move somewhere else, like enticing job offers to get them out of their town. Like that's the only manipulation, the only part of what the actual job, like this made up job he's describing sounds incredibly interesting. And so it makes you wish that there was like way more writing describing the job, because that's still at a point where it's trying to convince you it's real, and it would convince you it was real if it went into so many details about the job that you felt like, oh man, like, is this like a thing people really do, but it never quite crosses that threshold because too many of the questions that you would obviously ask are sidestepped, too many times where you'd be like, well, what does that look like? There's like, they don't say that, yeah, you wouldn't notice your hometown or whatever doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, it's a little much. Again, I think what's being proposed is so preposterous that it either needed to stop trying to feel real or try a lot harder to feel real. One or the other. This either needed to just be a sci-fi story or lean in more on being a creepypasta and less of like a weird experimental sci-fi story, Like, I was expecting it to try to do more to convince me that, like, maybe I have encountered these flowers before, but I've been manipulated by the government into forgetting, like maybe suggest something that's plausibly could have happened to me as evidence that this, maybe you too have had your mind, maybe you've been affected by us and you never even knew, like, but it never had like a convincing argument for how that could be the case, that would make me feel that way. Lily Orchard's name now to me is in reference to like the finding a bunch of those plants, an orchard of those red lilies. Oh wow, okay. I think right, Landon had a request for a segment of a video, and also Yakuman with a Popey the Performer. All right, okay. We'll do the butthole weeb thing first. It was from Comments on Comments, episode number 2. Time code 1 minute or 1 hour and 53 minutes. Okay. I'm also using this new technology. 153s. Then it called this killing my bit.
Can't even
yeah.
You can't even start to speak like this unless you're doing something wrong. Like, look, I'm not trying to abuse you, Mint. I'm just screaming at you every day, and I don't think that's a problem. It's like a weird way to start a sentiment, right? I only scream at my girlfriend on weekends, so it doesn't apply to me, and on the Clipperverse show, but that's the show format, so it's okay.
Only on weekends. You need a little,
But this isn't me trying to gaslight you or calling you crazy or whatever. Why would you even have said something like that?
Yeah.
That's the worst part of that comment.
Well, that's his whole entire... I mean, that was the sense of humor. Like, intentional. I really do think there was a time where Maddox was trying... Like, it's the difference between thinking the audience is supposed to be in on the joke versus not. That's the way... Like, I kept saying self-awareness earlier. I'll just... Instead of that, I'll say it's an expectation of audience inclusion that, like, in the book, maybe he was like...
Are we talking introception and extroception? Like...
I haven't heard those two phrases, but probably, yeah. Like it's him trying to say like, hey, we're all in on this joke together versus like, no, you're all stupid and I'm the smart one. And I think it's just he's gotten so far into denial because like he really did believe because he's had some kind of success, he must be above all these people who he can find an excuse for why he's better than. But like, I don't know. I was way more successful before I started ever talking about Maddox. Like, he's a side quest for me. So, like,
I mean,
he can't
overall,
make the excuse that I'm writing his Enigma or whatever. I am writing Dick's Enigma in talking about Maddox. So, and so
Maddox made it personal. So, yeah, doesn't it suck when you don't have personal beefs with these guys? Because, like, I don't really want to jump on Carl's thing.
Landon, this is the 4 hour and a half one. You sure you gave me the right time code, right? 1 hour, 53 minutes. I mean, you're in it, but you haven't been saying anything since I hit play.
And make fun of Stuttering John, so I have to wait for years while everybody makes money off that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, okay, now Eric July has gone after me personally, so I get to up the escalation back and forth.
I'll tell you, you don't need to worry about that. Carl, I've watched him undercut his friends on Stuttering. He's like burning Cardiff's clips 3 hours before his show. Like,
This ain't it. God damn it, Landon. We just watched 2 minutes of that already. Why did it take you so long to realize this wasn't the thing you wanted? Yes, that is Landon Butthole Weeb right there. Right there. So this is what Love Live fans look like. Indeed. He's about 6'6", and he wears a beanie. And got a big old beard. Because yours is on my phone is 4/26/13. Huh. Yeah, and here it says 4/29/21. All right. Well, let's see if it's
Making fun of this guy.
so
So
you're
you're gonna get Kingdom
to say.
It's hard. So thank you for on the show.
Butthole Weeb, if you want to do this guy, John Sajan or Sim V.
Okay,
DeLuca.
this seems
I don't
like
know why
it's
he has two
probably
names.
right.
There's a ... I didn't know your name could get so long on YouTube that it has a fucking.
Yeah, we need a character blocker there.
Not an ampersand. You
I've watched
idiot.
the unabridged version of this, and holy shit, man. How epic. I'm sorry this is happening to you, and I hope these fuck faces eat shit hard. Oh my god.
I love that though. I miss seeing that kind of fury and passion. Like Maddox having fans again would be kind of nice because that's gone away.
We should just have like a tag team match against one of these chuckle fucks.
Dude, it's why Eric is so much fun for me because there's so
Yeah.
many of them. He has
Yeah.
actual fans. There's enough for me to fight.
Bird just texted me to remind me that I said I was going to read super chats and then didn't.
You fucking.
Damn it,
I
bro.
will
That was
come to your
about,
house.
I was about to read it right.
There's Koof with $2 before the show even started. Said thank you.
You have
all
to
for
read
not-
his.
Thank you all for not killing
It's
yourselves.
where we talk about
Of course,
ass.
that's
Where do we
Koof's
talk about
motto.
ass?
In the background.
He would hand you a cigar. God. Oh, this gay
that-
shit.
Landon, what the hell am I looking for?
Your
Yeah.
silence is more telling than anything.
Hold on.
But you
Hope
won't.
it's
You won't.
squi-
You,
and good for him.
but you won't.
Hope
You
it's
won't. You,
that.
so it's all on you, but
Straight bit here.
I will tell you, Bird eats ass. So it's all on you, Butthole Weeb. What are you gonna say?
He's told me that, and good for him.
But you
Hope-
won't.
hope
You
it's
won't. You,
I
you're
will.
not gonna say anything. Your
Yeah.
silence is more telling than any
Yeah.
speech would be.
I disavow. I mean, I
It just
do like
means
to
that
have
you're
my
like
fun.
embarrassed of the ass you ate, and that's not a good story for
No,
anybody.
it just means I wish more sat on my face with my tickly mustache.
So you've not had a
That's
chance
what
to eat
I want,
ass?
man.
Is that why you haven't? Why you don't eat ass?
Maybe my Ducky Mucker wifey body pillows I have, but no, I'm not going to admit to any like actual live buttholes.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to admit.
Not gonna admit.
Why not? What are you protecting yourself from? Who cares? You know
I
how
know,
many rappers rap about eating ass? It's
I
like
know the meme is that Dick will not admit it. That motherfucker emailed me for years and he won't admit it. Every time he's like on Nick or like
maybe he
fucking,
hasn't eaten ass.
WATP, he's like, yeah, I know this guy. I don't eat ass, and he gets so pissed. It's
That was
fucking
a good bit.
hilarious.
Keep that up.
Look, Dick is old. Maybe he's just too old to eat ass. Maybe
No, I
he's
know
from a
he eats
different
ass.
generation.
No, he's just a fucking liar. It's that
Nice.
simple. I mean, don't make me cut a promo.
That's
Bird
more
will
likely.
back
I don't
me
know
up
what's
on
more
this.
likely. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, Bird's back. Bird, we're gonna have you read this comment from IDK-BY.
Okay. So that was the clip. It was me ruining Butthole Weeb's bit by asking him if he eats ass and then pointing out when he hesitated or if he had eaten ass, I guess, if he had ever eaten ass before to determine that it was mealy as fuck. Incredible. Welcome to the world of blue-doo-doo-doo. Welcome to the world of blue-doo-doo-doo. I guess I have to start eating ass or Landon will never respect me. No, it's not about... Landon thinks that eating ass is mealy as fuck, which is not a good thing. Landon is not in support of eating ass, but he doesn't mind whether you do it or not. He minds whether you lie about it. His stance is that Dick Masterson definitely eats ass, and he's lying when he says he doesn't. That's core to this bit. It's fine if you do or don't eat ass, but it's about whether or not you're honest about eating ass. And if you do eat ass, whether or not you're honest about it being mealy as fuck, or have a real opinion about the mealiness of the butthole. This is how I understand the bit anyways. Dick wouldn't admit it even when I was on show. I know. That was where it truly, this bit, Landon's been doing this bit for a solid 8 years, I think. And
about 6 months ago, he went on the Dick show to do the bit to Dick, and it made Dick so irrationally upset that Landon keeps insisting that he eats ass. It truly became, it transcended. It reached a whole new level. Sean loves it. Sean loves the bit. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a classic Dick show bit. When he says he wants to be fisted, is that a lie too? No, it's not a lie. He's never said he wanted to eat ass. He just asked people if they eat ass. When he says, I want to be fisted, he's just saying he wants to be fisted. It's not asking nobody nothing. All right, we got to watch a couple Popey the Performers. I don't remember what episode we are on, but I'll probably figure. Actually, I think I've just been letting it. Yeah, I've just been letting it determine where it's at. Okay, so I think we got 2 episodes worth of Popey to Popey to plow some Popey. Yes, mealy like a certain type of apple. That is part of the joke as well, as it's a reference to on Biggest Problem in the Universe / Biggest Solution in the Universe. There was a whole bit where Maddox kept insisting that Red Delicious apples are good, and Dick was saying they're mealy as fuck, and then they had a whole apple identifying contest where they double blind tested a bunch of apples to make Maddox accidentally score the apples he claims to love lower than other apples. Fire breathing Popey. Gas drinking Popey. Oh no! That's what it's like to eat them habaneros. Uh-oh. Hey, didn't land on either one of them. Fucking got him. He literally just fucking murdered the aliens. Oh shit. Oh. Yeah. Clever. This show's a lot better than Ruby, I must say. Can't imagine watching this as a kid and being okay. You say that, but like, I don't think this is actually that different from Looney Tunes. Like, it's a little bit more aesthetically off-putting, I guess. Like, those are just like animal creatures murdering each other all the time. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily would have read this as even as scary as like Courage the Cowardly Dog, just because the characters themselves do not convey the same, or rather the atmosphere of the show doesn't convey the same feeling of distress. The characters might be in distress sometimes, but the show always feels like it's kind of making fun of them. Like, they're just so bad of people in their own way. Like, they're both likable in their own way, but also terrible in their own way. So they're fun to watch, but also fun to watch bad things happen to. And I think that gives it a very Looney Tune quality. It feels to me like watching, you know, Coyote and Roadrunner, or like Tom and Jerry, except that there's not like I mean, there is a clear good guy, but he's less on top of it, you know, than like usually in the Looney Tunes, it's like one obsessed psychopath trying to murder somebody who either is not paying attention to them at all or always has the one up on them, you know. This is like neither one of them is quite the cool one, you know, and I like that. It makes it less predictable. Like, to me as a kid, Tom and Jerry and stuff like that, it's kind of like, yeah, well, okay, if Jerry almost always wins, you know, like it was those rare curveballs where like the episode would have a really weird ending, were the ones that stuck out with me the most, just because they were different, you know. There are more bizarre and darker episodes of Popey, but Courage is definitely more lighter, empathetic more times, so its creepy moments hit more. Yeah, I would agree with that too. Courage is like, well, and like in Courage's case, it's like you are on Courage's team, so you always feel like there's an anchor, is like, you know, and you like Muriel to some degree, so you know, you feel like someone's gonna help you through. Like, you got this heroic figure that's probably gonna succeed in the end, at least somewhat. But like, that allows the bad guys to be really creepy. You know, like Popey is creepy, but he's also, again, he's kind of funny. He's kind of lovable in his own way. He is victimized sometimes also. You know, it's not like he's always the winner. So both of them kind of come off as the fool. Whereas in like Courage, you've got these creatures like, you know, Return the Slab or Naughty, the uncle, that are just creepy, or Cats, you know, like just creepy. No, nothing redeeming, nothing that makes them like fun. They're more nightmare fuel to me than Popey, like something that's going to show up in your dreams, you know. Just talking about horror, I keep seeing in the reflection of my monitor over here, I can see like the frame of this chair that's in the background, but it almost kind of looks like Ghostface, you know, the Scream character, like in the monitor. So I keep going like, oh shit, Ghostface right behind me. And I definitely, yeah, I misspoke in saying that I don't consider Popey the villain per se, but it's more like he's a Wile E. Coyote villain, like an ineffective villain. You know, like there are moments where he's effective, but it never really matters. You know, they both keep coming back from the dead and stuff. So like, he's a lot more successful than Wile E. Coyote is, which does make him more threatening. I also find there's something like oddly, he's like if Mr. Beast wasn't like, didn't have anybody else he could fuck with. Like if Mr. Beast only had one person accessible to him to fuck with, I feel like this is who Mr. Beast would be.
How much do you think it would cost to get Mr. Beast to watch Popey the Performer and do a reaction video? Imagination. How is he doing it? We all have to thank the chick from BioShock for how good 3D animation has become. At the very least, 3D porn animation. Whoa. He's got so many different scary masks. Nice. Whoa, swimming through the floor. So this is a great example of Popey losing. Uh-oh. Maybe not. Everybody loses. That face slide. Straight to hell. That was amazing. The power of imagination, kids. All right. That was a good time. If there's not any other requests, I might wrap this up soon because I'm getting a little tired and I have some other stuff I want to do before I go to bed tonight. Namely, cleaning out the car, which is a fucking big mess since the last time we went camping. And it's been so goddamn hot and humid every day here in Virginia that I have not been willing to go out and do it during the daytime. But I'm always streaming at night, and I usually go to bed right after. So there are not any other requests currently. If anybody else has one last one, we'll do it. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up, gang. Landon, you will absolutely be invited to future podcast episodes. Anon User 2 says AMV request for Yuichi Kawamura Glass, Legend of Galactic Heroes. Okay. Ryuichi Kawamura SLOGH. All right, we'll play ourselves out with this.
The Russian subtitles are really funny.
強く抱きしめたらって不器用だと思うだろう優しさも裏返しでこんなにもそばにいる君に戸惑っているなんて
I'm guessing this footage comes from one of the movies, because, like, I don't remember any of this in the show, and it's got this odd aspect ratio. This looks like the show. Yeah, I remember this episode.
No 街は溶け地かけさまた送るこの歌を愛しさが届いたら君に開けそうなこの胸の扉を叩いてほしい捕まえていてね君の声をガラスの心に
I think I'm probably gonna try to do some kind of group watch of Overture of a New War at some point, because my Legend of Galactic Heroes video, I believe, has over 50,000 views, and I promised that when that happened, I would do another video about all of the movies and OVAs, and so I have to watch all of those. I've been trying to get Bird to watch them with me, but he doesn't usually have time to do that kind of thing. I'm thinking maybe I'll make it maybe I'll just group watch it with the people. What is happening in this video? It's pretty much every single scene of Yang and this, I can't remember her name, god damn it. I cannot remember her goddamn name. The two of them, pretty much every scene they have together, I think. Aggie Dine, apropos of nothing, just said, I want to get fucked in the face. Well, you know what? Ellen said same. I also say same. And maybe I will, goddammit. Probably not tonight, I'm sure Bird's asleep. Damn, what a tragic romance. That was all right, that was nice. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow, probably.